so important to be able to take a hit, get out of it, and flip up your mind sometimes when that goes down, right? So you got to be careful with that NVIDIA. I am going to try this up to 210.50, so that's going to be another area for me, 210.50 coming through. And then after that, man, the clean loss that we have today is Palantir, because it's not even clean. It's just, this is what happened. We got out. We didn't keep on getting back into it, and there was no reversal. And here's different, right? It's still different than NVIDIA because I don't see a strong reversal reason there. You know, if we were going long based on here, down to 125, and we broke 125, then I would think that would have been a short. But we didn't do it at 125, so we pass on that one. And now we just wait for SpaceX. Honestly, that's the next one. We're going to short 170. Hopefully that comes in. Looks like it's going to come in right there. Like I said, everybody that voted underneath was at 166, 167.50 or something. When you voted, it's already $1. This thing's very volatile.
Very. There's also a halt.
So who knows?
10 minutes. We're going to throw over to the midday. It's slightly past 11 o'clock. FRGT. Don't know the company, but I'm sure it'll be on the. It'll probably be on Sharif's radar, assuming it's a smart cap. If it's halted, I'm assuming it's a small capper, but it's a 10-minute halt here, and there's absolutely no liquidity, which is probably the reason why. If it's not 5, it's 10. If it's not 10, then they just sort of make it up as they go along, and it can be as long as they want. We're going to enjoy some fried chicken. Come back at 2 o'clock. It's going to be delicious. But you're going to have... Joe hit the fail on the fried chicken. Okay, so Joe says he didn't hit the fail. I don't know who hit the fail.
Sharif did. Anything fried, Sharif's going to say no.
It's delicious.
His body's a temple, blah, blah, blah.
We're going to enjoy it. My body is a temple because I enjoy feeding it good food.
You know what the thing is? Honestly, good food is the spice of life. Like, there's no... That's why I go into the gym.
Got to enjoy.
I'll just put it all back on with the fried chicken. I understand that.
Live your life.
But that's 100%, man. I don't.
Live your life. Let's go to the midday. We're gonna enjoy our food.
We'll see you guys back at 2. All right, see you guys.
Oh, I saw
After, yeah, you caught the initial heat.
And always like that, man.
Heat.
Dude, on so many occasions, Neil's like, Joe and me, I'm like, dude, I'm just like, can I not do something for once? You know,
because you were probably smiling when you looked over, right? Greetings and salutations, beautiful people. Welcome to the Midday Show. That is your boy, Joey Options. I am Sharif, and we're gonna wait for everybody to come on over from the other stream, because well, YouTube's dragging their feet a little bit today, but we got some OGs. Shout out to the OG, Callum, Mitchell, Miller, Adam, James Abroad, must. We got 2 grannies. 07, hello. Chris, Gorev, Broomstick, Terrible, Trey, shout out to Bristol and Max Bet. We got Claudio, we got Tony. How about Mia Beban, Clint, Scott H, Boom, Yannick, Gaming TV, shout out to Rex Banner. And who else? Chris over here, shout out. Crazy Dirt Weed, Scootsies. We got Henny Jensen and Padra. Billy Blue, Joey, Robert Lewis, and JC Trader. Shout out to Algo Assassin. Popla Cork, Customer, ATH and Hangry Wife. Shout out. James Murray and MF Dangerous. We got Tech 1901 and Video Hauser. Luka Drocic. Aren't you supposed to be playing with Croatia? My bad. That was kind of, you know, I labeled him a little bit there, Joe, given the last name, but I think he'll forgive me for that. Pedro, Stone Broke since yesterday, and Damian Tarza. How's your weekend, brother?
It was fantastic, man. What a beautiful weekend here in the city of Toronto.
All sun.
All sun. It's all sun and games, that's for sure, man. Just being downtown in the crowd with the Germany fans and the Côte d'Ivoire fans as well, too. So crazy stuff in the Village of Liberty. But yeah, I mean, hey, man, we're going to give a couple of shout-outs as we continue our roll call here. Sharif, we can't forget about our good friends on TikTok. Shout out to Deirdre Bosa, who's currently on CNBC right now as well, too. Alexander, ASMR, Amir, Realtor. I was just saying Deirdre's on, man. We're a fan of Deirdre. Nathan, Tom Johnson. She is Canadian, yes, that as well, too. So that was a part of the shout-out. Mafia, Juan 72800, what's up? Gregory, living large abroad.
What happened, Joey?
Adam, living large abroad. You have some competition right now. It's no longer, there's a Gregory in the chat. That guy looks awfully familiar. Do I know him? Probably not. Anyways, Wen, St. Biz, L, and a couple more here. Chen, YC, and Chase. What's going on, everybody? Hope everyone had a fantastic weekend. And then next Friday is another holiday as well, too. So they're starting to come into full effect. Once again, guys, let's get right into what we are trading here today.
Go to Sia.
Let's send things over to Sia.
Thank you so much. Sorry about that disruption. We're just going to take a look at SpaceX signing a compute deal with open source AI startup Reflection AI for access to NVIDIA's GB300 chips at Colossus 2. This is coming from several news reports. So Reflection will be paying SpaceX $150 million per month starting the 1st of July 2026, totaling about $6.3 billion if the deal runs through the year 2029. So it's now signed compute deals with Anthropic, Google, Cursor, and Reflection.
Thank you very
much. Sia. I know you got something going on there, Sharif. Let me finish my spiel here. We've only had 2 trades here today, both via TSLL. First one, we take a loss, and then it's just, I don't mean the trade could speak for itself at the end of the day. A big time move. I leave. I'm like, let's go walk around the office, see what everybody's up to, get a coffee refill, and I come back and I'm like, holy schmoly, here goes Tesla all the way to the top side. I just did this transaction right now for you folks back at home. So this is the only name that we've been trading here today. I do have my eyes on Bitcoin, NVDA with a high of 214, and then obviously in the corner of our eyes we have the SPY and NASDAQ seeing what we're up to. So a nice little move earlier in the morning, but then giving back the majority of it, 214 on NVDA, selling all the way down to almost 208. I had 2 orders filled on SpaceX. I had one out at 180. I thought I put it at, exactly. I thought it was at 170 and 160, not necessarily the case. So we're in at 180 and once again at 170 on SPCX. And then I have my largest order for SpaceX at 150, guys. So let's see if we can get that rocking and rolling.
Gold, buy or sell. Not a metals guy. Never owned metals, never owned silver, never owned gold. I'd use it personally as a hedge. Just against volatility. I set it, forget it, and I'd never buy and I'd never sell. Shout out to my man Jin Weiwei, Zhao Shanghao, Wu de Peng Yo. That means how's going on, my friend, or good morning, my friend. Shout out to my man Weiwei, Jin Weiwei. And then my other friend,
who is it?
Adam James Abroad.
What's he doing?
By the way, love you, Sharif. I'm your fans. Love you right back, brother. Shout out to my man Weiwei. Made my day already, so no more here. You're leaving us, Adam? Where are you going, bro? But have a wonderful day, Smash Brothers. Beautiful night with the Egyptians singing kids last night. Sharif, Mas. Dude, that was a good day. Now, I'm kind of sad my family couldn't get together to watch the game. We were all everywhere. You know, my parents were at their house. I was at my place. My cousins didn't come over. We didn't do a family thing to watch it, which kind of sucks, but we all had work on this morning, so it was a bit of a tough one there. But shout out to my main man, Adam James Abroad, and we got another one. Oh my days, the supers are coming fast and furious, and this time it's 10 Canadian, Joey. We got career crawlers. Can you look at EHGO? I just pulled it up right now, so we're gonna get to it and explain why, when above VWAP and the 50 EMA, it halted downwards. Trying to learn what I did wrong in the trade. Please explain. That's a great question.
Great question.
Yeah, it's fantastic, right? So let's get right down to it, Joey, because it's a very good question. And if you're going to trade these small cap gappers, you got to know some rules. And there are rules here to speak about. Volatility rules. So the exchanges, they get very upset when things move too aggressively one way or another. They don't want it moving too much too fast. So they put this rule, it's an enforceable rule right away by the exchange, that if it moves plus or minus 10% within 5 minutes, it halts for at least 5 minutes due to volatility. And that's what happened here with this one. So I'm assuming you're talking about this over here, that 1019 candle on EHGO. It rocketed up from 450, Joey, and then it got to 571. I'm not good at math, but the exchange says, at least from somewhere over here, that was a 10% move within 5 minutes. As a result, it halted at 571 for a period of 5 minutes. It reopened higher than it halted at. Opened up at 593. Now, that has nothing to do with the 50 exponential moving average. It has nothing to do with the volume weighted average price. It only has to do with how quickly it moves up or down within a specified period of time. If it does that, if it moves up 10%, down 10% within that specified period of time, the exchange would automatically halt it. It is not a subjective thing. It is automatically done by the exchange. In the same way you saw over here. So we had an up halt here, Joey. It was a big up halt. Moving at 10.19, we ended up halting at 10.21 or 10.22, something like that. The same thing happened, but in the contra positive. We were at 6.52. All of a sudden, it started bleeding its own blood and halted at 4.89, 4.88, somewhere along those lines. So it's the same thing, and it's great that I'm not saying it's great that it halted against you, but it's great that it did it up and down, so it helps my explanation a little bit over here. So that's kind of what I want to point out. Forget about VWAP, forget about the 50 EMA when it comes to halts. It's only important how quickly this thing moves up or down within a window of time. So I hope that helps. And now, having mentioned all that, I am watching EHGO on my side chart. Now, it's straddling the volume weighted average price. What I see over here is a bit of a consolidation period. Now, here's where your VWAP features, Assassino, because that 450 area, that's the volume weighted average price, and it keeps finding support there. That's not by accident. There's a reason it keeps finding support there. Technical analysis, baby. So 10:45 till currently 11:10. We've got about, 25 minutes worth of a range, 450 to the downside, give or take 5 to the high side. I'm going to need to see a move above 5 and perhaps even 550 before I start getting involved in EHGO again over here, Joey. But as you guys can see, I got a position on right now on NIX, NIXX. It's not a big mover here, but it's got a nice pattern that I like. It really does look like, I don't know, what do you think about this, Joe? You think this is a cup and handle pattern over here? You get a little down move, and now you're getting a little bit of a consolidation sideways?
I like that for the high of the day break.
High of the day break, right? We're going to move to 155. If we don't move to 155, your boy Joey Options is going to reimburse me. No, he's not, but whatever. He's like, yeah, nice try, buddy.
Yeah,
but anyway, so NIXX, Joey, looking at that one.
I'm looking for a little reimbursement myself.
You're looking for reimbursement?
Yeah, I don't know on
what happened.
I don't know, man. We'll figure it out eventually. No, but guys, here it is. Gorev lost. Glad to see you guys. I tried tagging you both this morning, and what was I necessarily going to be talking about was this print right here on Tesla on the 5-minute. So I'm like, okay, what's going on? I had my eyes on AbbVie. We were looking at SpaceX as well, NVDA. Just, again, I'm still in the camp of just, we're not ready to take that next leg higher within this name. It's more or less going to be a stair step and a grind. There's a lot of open interest throughout the options chain, and with that being said, there's a lot of people who are on the short side of things, right? So you just have that consistent downwards pressure within the underlying asset, which makes it extremely difficult for it to continue to move a little bit higher. So let's break down my trade plan. This was honestly one of my last names on the radar. It was Robinhood, SpaceX, IBIT that I was looking at, and then ETHA actually, because we haven't traded that literally since last summer, I believe. So that's Tesla, crazy. As soon as I seen this print, I'm like, okay, this is our green light to go. It's like it's the activation switch. Once we got that pullback, I'm looking for that entry in, and then sure enough, what happened on the lower time frame was, okay, this was my game plan. We're either going to ABCD and just go right away and put in that new leg, but that would help me to put in a nice little scalp for us. We'll get back into our trade momentarily. So right here within this consolidation after that strong up move, I'm looking for the break of the high of the day, and then we start to take some profit off with VWAP being my stop loss. Now, that didn't happen. What happened was we pulled back. There wasn't enough demand in that at that time frame for us to continue higher. So what happened, we pull back, we hold the volume weighted average price, and then on the preceding candle, what happens is I place my entry, but I also doubled up my size because I said, not today, as I typically do. I'm not gonna allow you to wake me out on a pullback. My thesis is still valid. We didn't break, and we didn't break and hold below the volume weighted average price. So that's why I wanted to re-enter the position. Now moving forward, let's head over to the trade itself as we break it down a little bit more, is we enter at that ABCD pattern, heads towards the volume weighted average price. I wasn't willing to hold it anymore. I did already a couple of pennies, and when you're putting on the size, a couple of pennies is a lot. But then I mentioned we hold that, and I said, yeah, okay, not today. Once again, we re-enter, but we actually had double the amount of size that we had in our initial position. Now, we often say don't martingale, but what I was looking for here was a break of the high of the day.
What does that mean?
Martingale.
Trade day, so like you double up every,
Oh.
you know, it's like the gambling, the old gambling methodology there. So I'm like, okay, but some scenarios, listen, you don't do it all the time, but if you have conviction within the trade, I have no personal issue. And don't forget, it always doesn't have to be at a 2-to-1 ratio. I tell you guys about my my good old blackjack days, is that I would add a quarter, 50%, 30%. It doesn't always have to be a 2-to-1 or anything along those lines, as long as your following bet is larger than what the previous bet was. Now, moving forward, what happened was we did take the majority of our position in this concentration between $13 and $13.25, but then we were fortunate enough to get this big time move higher. Now, we pulled back through the volume weighted average price while the rest of the market proceeded to sell off and hold below that. We did sell off, but then now we're starting to rebound a little bit higher. So the next question for me here on Tesla is, are we going to establish a new high of the day, or are we going to fail and put in a lower high, which could possibly mean an additional break through the volume weighted average price and a new leg lower? Only time will tell. Eyes on IBIT, eyes on NVDA, and eyes on Robinhood for a potential rebound right here. And then one more thing, Sharif. Someone said, hey, why is Google selling?
Because they lost.
I said, it's irrelevant. Just buy it.
7% on this one guy? 7%?
It's a hard buy. I'm in at 350. I'm looking to buy a little bit more.
That's crazy to me. This one dude is worth 7%. Take your Nobel, bro. I mean,
take your Nobel, bro, and go
man,
over there.
That ain't right, man.
Hey, it is what it is.
Yeah, whatever. I'm not even buying it, John. We got a little liquid this morning.
Yeah, bro. I told you, we're hella liquid right now, man.
Yeah.
Well, not so much anymore because we did buy a little bit of Google. We got 2 fills there on SpaceX.
7%.
But guess what? We have some powder on the sidelines waiting for some more SpaceX and waiting for some more goggles.
There goes EHGO. Here comes the $0.50. It's back above 5. Y'all were asking, good questions about this one's volatility, namely the Halts. But we are coming into a key area. I submit to you guys that 5.5. If you close above that level, I'm talking about a good closing print on the 5-minute chart. This could be all gas, no brakes, and we could be testing 6 again, let alone 675, which is the current high a day. So that was a topping tail candle that we put in at 1025, and here comes 5.5, 49 showing up. All gas, expect some resistance here at the $0.50, not just because it is the $0.50 and, of course, a psychological area of resistance, but we have a double top there. The 1040 and the 1045 candle had trouble clearing it, but there it goes, man, into 70. This one's really going, guys. EHGO is picking up steam in an aggressive way. Here comes, wow, dude, this went from 5 into 6 in a straight line here in about a 2 or 3 minute setup on the 1-minute chart. 85 showing up. This is current bar high, 221%. I mean, this is an excellent area here if it can come back into 5.5 and then hold 5.5. But something tells me this is not really going to look back all that many times. So if you're going to get an entry here, you're going to have to be super strategic with it. You just got to flash a 70s before we possibly move up into that 80s area. So let's see here. Do we get another flash of 70s? There's a buyer in the low 80s, and there goes 6. Back down into 96s though, so EHGO really picking up, and we're closing in now on 100 million shares, about 72.33 million done so far. General buyer in the high 590s, low 6s, but that's not holding true at the moment as this one bleeds down into the 80s again. Oh man, how many times? This is going to give me an entry opportunity here. Oh, I hate picking up things at the high of the day.
Chime in with the breaking news if that's okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah. We're just going to keep an eye out, on Meta here. Meta will be investing $900 million in India's Crude So basically, it'll invest this money in the Indian fintech startup CRED, which is valued at $4.5 billion, while tapping Cred's founder Kunal Shah to head WhatsApp globally, they've said today.
Thank you very much for that. Good meta headline there. Let's watch EHGO now. I'm looking for a breach of 6, Joey. We got 85s. We're getting some selling here in the low 90s. Anything below the $0.50 will end the trade for me. What do you got, my man?
Good stuff, man. I took 400 breakout long, holding 50%, bro. Yeah, LFG, he says. Yeah, nice play there. Los Pollos, good seeing. So roughly around the same entry as us. Congratulations, and once again, thank you, Sia. It's unfortunate. Meta is actually one of the worst performing underlyings within my portfolio. That in Bitcoin has been surprisingly bad, but the real Gary F asking me about RK here. I mean, it's such a weird basket of stocks, if you ask me. You have Tesla with the majority holding at 10 1/3, and then you have Advanced Micro Devices at 5%, Robinhood 5% as well. CRISPR Therapeutics, which I found interesting. I don't know if anybody watched that documentary on CRISPR, but Buddy's just injecting himself with crazy substances, and people try like
longevity or
within CRISPR,
Unk or something like that.
No, not that guy.
You know what I'm talking about?
The guy on social media that they're just roasting.
Yeah, he calls him something like something Unk. That's his name. Something on.
But the guy who's just getting roasted, right? He has like
he's pale skin.
He's either
and, like,
okay, maybe we're talking about different guys.
Okay.
But anyways, there's this one guy who they're calling Unk is just getting absolutely destroyed. He has the most insane stories. He's either telling the absolute truth or he's just every word that comes out of his mouth is a complete lie, and I'm leading towards the latter half. But anyways, here it is, right? Like this guy's like, yeah, when I was a teenager, I used to fight everybody. My mom was like, you're a special kid, and then he's like, yeah, I spent like 7 years with the monks, the Shaolin monks in China. It's just like, man, what's going on here? All right. Anyways, back to this Roku Roku getting potentially bought out coin, and then Palantir. So an odd number of, or an odd basket of stocks here in RK. Moving forward, let's take a look at DRAM, looking to get involved in this bad boy. We're gonna have to be more patient with this. SK Hynix, Samsung, First American, and then SanDisk and MU, whose holdings are starting to slightly uptick here, but Seagate Technology receiving a downgrade this morning, I believe, but SK Hynix, 25% of this specific ETF's holdings. Are you ready for that, my guy? All right, man, rock and roll.
Let's tell them. Quick reminder, guys, that Trader TV members get Sharif's mine, daily morning research note every trading day, the big market stories, the key levels, the trade plans, the catalyst, and what we're watching into the open. It's only $4.99 a month, and you also get members-only videos, posts, custom emojis, and the loyalty badges. Hit the join button below this video to become a member. We're talking about the very thrifty price of $4.99 a month. Gets you all that. Thank you very much for those who joined, and thank you for KC526 as well as the other members in the chat who have been gifting a lot of these memberships lately, so you can go ahead and try the morning note should you have received a membership. All right, thank you guys for that. All right, continuing to watch NIXX here, Tiffany, as this one works into the $0.50. 149 is the high of the day. We just whipped the beak at said 149 area, and now we're looking for the $0.50 break. It is probably going to be a bit of a tough level at the $0.50. I am expecting resistance here. The question is, what's my plan if we do get resistance? Well, I'm thinking about adding into the 140s area should the 150 area feel. Let me make my case as to why. Look at this long period of consolidation over here. I like my chances for the fact that buyers are going to step in at that long area of consolidation. I'm talking about the mid 140s, or the low 140s, pardon me. All right, continuing to take prints there into the 150 level. We haven't quite seen 150 on the ask quite yet on NIXX. It's not up big, nor does it have a lot of volume, relatively speaking. We're talking about 27 1/3%. On volume of 16 1/3. So you need to be careful with this one. It is not the volume explosion that we're seeing on EHGO, but one to keep an eye on nonetheless. Kilgore Trout 001. Joe, Sharif. What's up, my guys? Check out the components in EUV. Not doing much today. but a watch list ad here. Rock on. You rock on, man. We appreciate your kind words there. We're just going to wet the beak super quick here on NIX, and then we're going to bring in the Fundamentals Explorer and take a gander at what EUV is. You want us to look at the components. So this is a semiconductor fund. Let's go ahead and read this a little bit here, Joey. We got the fund that seeks capital appreciation. Can you believe it seeks capital appreciation? Joe's like, he's trying to talk to Fabian. I'm like chirping in his ear. He's like, what the hell is going on? The fund mainly...
It's not working.
You're talking about Unity.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, it's okay. The fund mainly invests in companies involved in the development, deployment, and operation of photonics. You got my attention. Photonics and light-based technologies, including extreme ultraviolet. I guess that's why EUV is the ticker. Lithography and related semiconductors. So what are they holding? Are they holding like 99% ASML? So let's go to holdings here, Joey. Let's find out. TSM, their number one holding, ASML number two. So they're holding 9.92% of the fund in Taiwan freaking Semiconductor. And then you got, what do you think ASML stands for? It's everything you think it stands for.
Yeah.
It is. It's Advanced Semiconductor Machine Lithography or something like that. 8 1/3% for ASML. Lam Research, which is good for deep ultraviolet. They don't have extreme. LRCX about 5.4. You got AMAT, another tools maker at 5%. I know you're about that life, Joey.
I like that, man.
GLW's right there, 4.7%. They got Sienna Corp. I don't even have Sienna on my watch list. 4 1/3. They got KLA Corporation. That's one we know. LITE. I've been in that for a hot minute. You guys know that was one of my swings. LITE 3.8%. Coherent 3.75%. And Macom Technology MTSI. Let's find out what this MTSI is, Joey. Are we going to add this one here to the semis watch list? Because I don't even have eyes on this company. Let's find out. What is this MTSI? MTSI, Macom. Okay. What's the market cap? 30 billion, excuse me. And they do high-performance semiconductor products for industrial defense, data center, and telecom. 6,000 customers annually. They do RF radio, microwave, analog, mixed signal. So this feels very similar to MCHP. Huh, interesting. Thank you for this one. Didn't know about the EUV ETF, but now that I know about it, I won't forget about it. So thank you for that. What are you looking at, Joe?
All right. I got a lot going on here. Wendy's, let's hear it. No,
No,
we're all right, man. We got it figured out now.
Okay.
All right, man. Yeah, we're tapped in. That Unity's working now, so hopefully.
Iran comments. Okay. Iran Foreign Ministry spokesperson says Tehran did not negotiate the nuclear issue and did not accept any new commitments in Sunday's talks in Switzerland. I'm just reading because there's multiple reports here. Tehran's interaction with the IAEA will be under the approval of Iran's parliament and the decisions of the Supreme National Security Council. So those are the Iran comments that you guys are asking about there in chat. I didn't mean to interrupt it, You know how this stuff is, Joey.
It's all good, man. All right.
Get it, Joe.
It's crazy. All right, man. Yeah, hey, let's find something here, man. We're going to head over to small cap land with Sharif. We're still sitting in this Tesla trade. No, I was talking about a failed high. I think that's going to be the narrative right now. Wendy's Tendy says fake news. I don't know about that, but
I'm not vouching for the veracity of the news. You know what I mean,
exactly.
Wendy's, right? We're just reading it out.
Exactly.
But whether it's accurate
reading the headline
from the Iranians or not, that's your guess as good as mine. Yeah.
Now, Tenon failing, Getty. I mean, that's not looking horrible, but we're below the volume-weighted average price. And then you have SkyQ. Adam James talking about this name earlier this morning. I know Sharif just went on a spiel about with all these small names, so let's head over to our other scanner and see what we got going on. American Airlines hitting some volume here today, guys. 45.7 million shares and putting in a new high, right? Or like a high of the day, I should say. 1650, so not too bad of a look. And you guys know we've been trading Tesla. But DRAM, I'm waiting for any form of aggressive pullback, and then we're going to look to be buying this. This was a big time move, and then you just climb 42% just like that. So you go from $69, you get that 20% pullback, and that was it. After that point, you climb an additional 40%. So 56 was your last entry. There's zero chance that we're going to be chasing it all the way up here. There's another route that you can go for individuals who are looking to grab a little bit more shares and or have the cash on hand. And that's the CSP route. We'll do about 30 days out here. So we'll head over to the July 24th expiration cycle. You good?
Yeah, it was just loud. It's just
you
was testing it.
Oh, okay. I don't even have that in. I got so like, yeah. Anyways, so here it is. $70. You're collecting 450 there. I would be more comfortable around the 60 to 55 range. And what are you going to collect? Not nearly as much, but it's better than nothing than for just waiting for price to come to you and absorbing all of that premium as much as you potentially can. My boy Nick Vendy from Newmarket is like, hey man, we're involved with some SpaceX puts. He's in the covered. Man, our boy Joey? Was about $1 away from potential assignment here on his cash secured puts on Friday. Fortunate enough to get that 172 bounce, and then it didn't look back from that point. So congratulations to you, Nick. And now you're in at the 45s, which I like. Expiring at the end of the week, you're collecting $75 per contract combination or just pure contract. I know your CSPs, so that's not too bad, especially if you're buying multiple, and sure enough, you're just collecting as you wait for the underlying to even stay above the price or come to you to the point of assignment where you're now the proud owner of SpaceX at $145, which I think is totally possible here, right? Like if you selling 3 up, 3 down, Sharif, 3 days.
It's like baseball.
3 up, 3 down. Exactly. That's exactly what SpaceX was. 3 strong sessions, and then we give back the majority of it, trading at $169. There was zero chance that I was going to be chasing it into the 200s. You put those orders out, you put those GTCs, and you allow price to come to you. May take significantly longer than you're expecting, or it may happen sooner than you're expecting. In this case, for me, happened a lot quicker than what I thought it was going to, Sharif. Now, before we send it back to you, my friend, I want to take a look at Google as we're now at 345. So we had a key shelf broken. Well, guess what? I'll tell you right now where I'm going to be posting up at, and that's going to be on this shelf right here. This is a healthy pullback before we continue. I don't believe that we're going to head that deep, but if we do, guess who's going to be prepared to grab some more Google shares? Your boy Joe at $325. That's going to be my next dip buy here on goggles. We said AC Slater to Netflix. As that broke through some lows, we sold that at about $80, now trading at $73. We did take a little bit of a loss, but what we're making on some of the other names that we dip bought is far outweighing this dead money that we had in Trash Flicks.
All right, we got to go up to Adara and Juan at the big desk for the Euro close.
Indeed, another day, another close for the European markets. Here we are with Juan to take us through the Euro close and what he's looking at, what we all should be looking for tomorrow's session.
Thank you so much, Vera. So, European markets opening the week with some dynamic momentum. We had some political shifts, Middle East breakthroughs, as well as some heavy sector rotations. So if we take a look at the indexes, Stocks Europe 600, that was up by about 0.54%. They rallied a little bit harder towards the final bell, locking in some stellar performances near record highs. DAX Germany, they were the ones who actually led the entire continent, easing factory energy output as well being the main reason. But the only downside was in France.
I think we're going to go back to the desk for a bit.
Yeah, he said that there's a mic issue there. I'm going to want Mike. We'll get that fixed in no time. So just give us 1 second with that. It was great information. Thank you, Juan. We'll come back to you in 1/2 second, just as soon as your mic is fixed. But there goes EHGO through the $0.50, Joey. We're holding 31s. We're looking for 6s, but it's having a lot of trouble. Anything through the $0.25 to the downside ends this trade. This has got to go now. I'm not going to DCA into $5 and start hoping, oh, please, you know, trading gods, please let this one hold above 5. No. If it doesn't go into 6, we're getting the hell out of there, Joey. It's as simple as that. It failed 5.5 right now. That is not a good sign. And here it comes, and that ends the trade through me. I had a feeling that this one was going to bleed its own blood. Topping tail candle. Watch for the hold of 5 here. Trouble here for EHGO off that 5 area. We have another one, though. Let me know when we're ready to go back to 1 anytime. I am ready. But I want to mention one that Tisha Perkins, shout out to my girl Tisha in the chat, man. She's always calling these ones out. So if you're not, you know, in the chat, you can't see what Tisha's calling out. You can't see what Casey's calling out. You can't see what Bovin's calling out. So if you're not in the chat, you're missing out. That's the point I'm trying to get at. There it goes, Tisha, through $2. It's a 218 high. It's a beautiful hold of structure at around 175 where the volume weighted average price is hanging out. But it does present us with a recurring problem here with SkyQ, in that we've had a lot of resistance at $2. We haven't been able to shake the sellers at that level in a decisive way. So I'm quite worried here that $2 may be a bit of a top, but keep your eye here closely on SkyQ because it's accumulating for what I perceive to be an ascending wedge pattern, right? We've got some higher lows here. All the while, we're still dealing with that 205 at the max, and I would say submit to you generally, it's a 2-area resistance, so SkyQ in focus. Also, just because I lost on the last remaining amount here on EHGO doesn't mean that it's the end of the matter. In fact, this topping tail candle kind of is good for the longs. Let me explain why. We'd love to know ahead of time where the shorts or the sellers are sitting, right? I mean, if I knew there was a seller sitting at $5.55, I'd probably wait, a big seller, a notable seller. I'd probably wait for somebody else to take out that seller at $5.55 before I got in. But that's what the seller here did.
Mike, you're having mic issues right now. Yeah.
As well?
Yeah, chat's going
All I
crazy,
need is
but-
one mic,
Oh,
one mic.
Well, look at I got going on here.
What do you got? You got 2 mics?
Yeah, you know what I mean? That's what I'm
perfect.
saying, man. I had so
That
much
is
going on
perfect,
here.
apropos.
Okay, they're saying it's good now. Just hit
Get out
a
of the
refresh there,
bathroom.
guys. Yeah, well, he's clearly right in front of you. We'll double check. We'll make sure his mic's good.
SSC, can you put Joey on because my mic is screwed?
Yeah. If you can send it over here, I think everything is all right.
On the camera.
Can we just mess around a little bit? Big Joe sounds great. I appreciate that, Jake Weston. Joey mics, yeah, exactly. Now, guys, what I'm looking at here is a potential wedge being formed on IBIT. Let's see if this flat top is going to break, but what we do have is consistent higher lows here, right? So
Get it, Joey.
bang, that's what we want to look out for. If the volume really kicks in, I don't love, and I say this all the time, I don't love these strong pre-market moves, but if we have a volume anomaly step in and we break through the resistance zone, I like our chance for the continuation for the high of the day. I just believe that we're gonna see an additional liquidity grab, and then we also have to look out for this potential head and shoulder pattern being formed on the 5-minute time frame. Shoulder 1, head, shoulder 2. If you break through support, then watch out for some more downside. Now on the daily, it's just absolute disastrous. With that being said, when Bitcoin and Ethereum are being kicked when they're down, and if you're patient enough, I don't think it's a horrible time to just dabble in. I mean, we had some up. We were selling ours off at 41 and 42.
You lost to that at Liberty Village.
Yeah, bro. I don't know what you got going on. Where were you with during the Germany game? Why didn't you stay?
running.
I know. Why didn't you? Not during the game.
Oh, yeah, I was watching at home.
Yeah, I walked the path and it was crazy.
We'll talk a lot about that.
Yeah.
But we got to go back to Juan and Dara for the Euro segment.
We're ready to go back over there. I'm cheering for Norway aside
Go
from
for
Canada.
Norway, eh?
Aside from Canada now, just because of the fans, man. That's
Great
some
cheer.
nostalgic stuff.
Great
Yeah, let's send it over to Juan and Adair.
Apologies for the technical difficulties here. Now we'll have no difficulty getting right back into the discussion of the Euro close with Juan.
Thank you, Dara. Sorry again for the mic issues, guys. So basically, as I was saying before we got interrupted, in France, they were the only sector that was down overnight. They finished slightly lower based on heavy luxury sector weight near-term consolidation. Some regional talking points coming out of Europe overnight. Basically, the big main story was that of Keir Starmer's resignation. Basically, that triggered a defensive rally in the FTSE 100, but they did finish overall higher. And then tech and luxury, of course, rotations, that was the big one. Tech really surged overnight. We had Infineon up by nearly 6%. We had ST Microelectronics, they were up by more than 2%. And then even ASML was up by 1%. The downside, of course, we had Hermes down by nearly 5% and Louis Vuitton down by nearly 2%. So those heavy sector rotations definitely affected France, but overall, in general, they did end quite well in the European markets overnight.
Sounds like not a great day for designer brands, but good day for a lot of other options. Thanks again here to One for being here with us, and he'll be with us again, as he is every day at 3:30 p.m. talking Asian markets. See you then. Thanks.
Keir Starmer, Rishi Sunak, Liz Truss, Boris Johnson. Where do we keep going?
Yeah, you have a bunch, man.
What is going on in that country? Y'all need to get it together, man. You got 8 leaders in 10 years?
Yeah. Oh.
Juan just said like Chelsea. Excellent analogy, Juan. Excellent. Way to dunk on the Blues while they're down. No, but seriously, guys, like what is going on over there? Joey, you need some stability in that place, man. I mean, he's out.
He's out,
You hear who the challenger is?
No, who is it?
The mayor of Manchester. Apparently, he's got a big shot over there.
Really?
He's a big guy. Yeah, apparently. I mean,
Okay.
I didn't know too much about him until he threw his hat into the leadership ring. But
yeah. I mean, hey, listen, man, I think over here, we don't fall into that same boat. We give our leaders an extended period of time to try and get things right. And it's either it works out or it doesn't work at all to the point
yeah,
where...
and then we do. So I agree with you. But we also saw what happened in the lost decade, right? We lost a decade of no economic prosperity.
Well, we were
right?
quick to
we lost
shove
a decade.
our guy Harper out of the door, and then we had
they
a
were
decade
quick.
unfortunately
jail.
nothing.
Joey.
Negative GDP.
There goes NIXX into 155. That is an official HOD. As we do clear that 150 area, I need to bring your attention, though, to the 805 high, which is 157. That is not the official high, having taken place in the pre-market, but it doesn't mean that it's not a key level of resistance, especially since we did the highest volume bar that time on the day during 805. We had about 577,000 shares exchange hands, more actually. What am I saying? Give me one sec. That candle actually had 1.538 million shares exchange hands. Just by way of comparison, not the 1140 bar that we're currently on the 5. Let's go 1135 bar. That candle had 107,000 shares. So exponentially higher is that pre-market high candle, the volume bar for that pre-market high candle. So keep your eye on that. But I want to point out another couple that are moving. One I've already had on, NXTS, but Tisha Perkins has been yelling about this one in the chat as well. She should be, because it's going. NXTS, here comes $20 on NXTS. It's up a very healthy 286%. In fact, it's over 100% higher than EHGO as a percentage metric on the day. This one closed up at about $5 on Friday. It's all gas. There's absolutely no breaks on this. Well, there's a couple of breaks, seeing that we're about $3.80 off the high. But the point is, it's setting up at a key area of resistance, $20. So it's make or break time here. Can we clear 20 on a closing basis? We're going to keep a close eye out on this one. But there goes NIXX again into 154. We only need one more penny and we get the high of the day. In fact, I'm waiting at 155 for the purpose of testing liquidity to see if the shorts are earmarking 155 being the high of the day as their area to short. So that's where I'm looking. I'm looking for 155s here on NIXX. And while you contemplate that, you can contemplate this. AIIO has been a multiple offender, a repeat offender. It's been locked up many times, and I'm joking, of course, but what I mean by that is it's showing up on our scanner a lot, so we're trading it a lot. And today, it's got another good look. It's up 14 3/4. It's not by the biggest name by any means, but does anybody recognize this pattern that I'm looking at here on the right side of the screen? It's very lovingly called the bull flag. and it's got a key area of support in and around that white line. That white line will always be the volume-weighted average price on my charts, and it's got a bit of a range. I'd submit to you 345 to the high side, 325 to the downside. Not strict, but generally. What does that mean? That means that if you'd like, if you feel so inclined, you put an order right around 3.25, and then if you get filled, you sell right around 345. And if you feel so inclined, as I don't want to give financial advice, you save a piece for the dream. Should this one breach 350 and mosey on up possibly into 2/3, perhaps even 3/4. So I want to point out AIIO doing its thing 25, and it could look real good over here. Last but not least, SSPC. Sorry, the charts are all wonky today, and I don't know why. SSPC, not up big, 19 3/4, Joey, but it found a lot of support at 11 1/3, the same area that we had a lot of resistance at the implied balance open. Take a quick gander at that big move up at 9:30. It's all gas, no brakes. The brakes get hit for whatever reason right at 11 1/3. Funny enough, we end up clearing that 11 1/3, and then we come down and we use 11:30 as that area of support, and not one candle basis, not two, but 3 candles on the 5-minute chart, meaning 15 minutes of defense at that level. And then I'm seeing this level as well. 11 o'clock, it also tested 11:30. So 11:30, a key area of support on SSPC. Look for a bigger move, though, on this one. I'm watching all of these ones as the small caps are looking pretty good today, man.
Yeah,
They're not looking that bad.
I actually have my eyes on Hive Digital here, Sharif, as it's looking like it wants to head towards the high of the day. So for me personally, I was just looking into the float and seeing some of these numbers. I do believe what they have going on right now is they have a data center build out in the Kitchener-Waterloo area.
Kitchener-Waterloo, big up.
Yeah, so shout out to the west end of Ontario. So we'll pull up Hive Digital. It's not having the momentum plays that I'm looking for, so it'll more or less be a slow grind. With that being said, I don't. My price of 520, what I was looking at, I don't think that's achievable at this point, as we have a 1-minute candle open on the top end of this range right here. Now, if the momentum and the volume really starts to uptick, then I think that's going to be my green light to go, as it kind of is right now. So I could start relatively small, and then average in at the lower end of the range would be approximately 6 cents. No need for me to go. Oh, whoa, that was close. No need for me to go heavy on this or anything along those lines, right? Like, we have TSLL. This is more or less just to see if we're going to get that high of the day break. Anything above that specific target, then we're looking to take a little bit of profit off here. So I'll add a little bit more just because I'm feeling that type of way here today, Sharif. We had a good one earlier in the morning, so let's see if we can keep this party rolling and find some other good opportunities. Now, my thesis for Bitcoin is still holding up. I'm just waiting for that next influx of volume to step in, and I think that's going to help us determine which direction we're going to head in the near term. All right, so let's pull that up here one more time. So we're now long Hive Digital, looking for that high of the day break. Once that happens, we eliminate or remove half of our position and leave the rest for a runner for either break even or trail that stop. Now we're a little bit ahead of ourselves. First, we need to make that move, which there is a nice bounce off of the volume weighted average price. Just the trajectory that it's currently on, I believe that position in this trade is obtainable to break through those specific zones. Up 23%, closer to 24% here, Sharif. So maybe we can get this rolling on today's session. Now, as for IBIT, I was just referring to that not too long ago. You can see that this wedge is slowly starting to fail us here. But what we do have is Robinhood with a high of $112, now down to 108, but heading right towards the volume weighted average price. So this is a pretty good look. I mean, whatever they have going on, there's multiple tailwinds for this name, and you can see it really reflected in the stock, right? You're an underwriter for the biggest IPO ever. You have the PDT rule removed, and at one point when you're down 60%, Sharif,
yes, sir,
you do climb quite a bit off of those lows, 70% off of those lows, right? So, I mean, when you're down 50%, you need the underlying asset itself to essentially have a 100% return. And if you were buying within this concentration where it looks like you're forming a head and shoulders pattern and an additional breakdown, it was a complete fake out. What happens the following day right here, Thursday, May 28th, you just have that massive strength, and that strong day, I think, was maybe a day or so after the PDT rule had been lifted. And then now we're on a current, and it feels like a path where we can potentially potentially go and test that previous all-time high of $150. I mean, I'm a long-term shareholder of this. I will be for the foreseeable future, especially if this name is going to be at the forefront of tokenized equities and real-world assets. Then you have the transaction fees coming in from the SpaceX IPO, which I was listening to a couple of analysts over the weekend saying
They say
they've never seen. There's a major shift going on in the IPO game, considering we have this here, Sharif. And the individuals I'm referring to are going to be Josh Brown and Tom Lee, both stating that they've never seen an IPO be in the top 3-4 slots of volume in the derivatives world.
That's crazy.
That's what I mentioned before.
Like
you don't see that to be. I've never seen that. Again, I haven't been in the game as long as these individuals.
Fair enough.
But there's something along those lines of like 1.7, almost 2 million contracts traded in the first couple of sessions on SpaceX. It's just whole new unexplored territory.
I want to ask a question. Is it normal for a name to become optionable that quickly?
That as well, too. They're like, dude, we've never seen, like the following week.
I was surprised.
Like the next couple of days, literally 3 days later, this thing is optionable. Never been done before.
He was like just stacking the deck before this thing even hit the market. The lockout period, right? The fixed price. What else did he do? Or the insisting 30% to retail. Insisting that it make its way into the NASDAQ 100, the MSCI. Like he was preparing all this. Basically, let's just be honest about it. He was throwing around his weight to get this. You're just some Joe Schmo. Let's just Figma. I don't know. I don't mean to crap on Figma, but you're Figma. You're coming to market. You're making these demands. They're laughing at you.
No, they're like, okay, whatever.
Get out of here. We're not doing that. So, quite frankly, I think he's just throwing around his weight.
What they did and everything just from a fast track standpoint within SpaceX, I think it's a really, really good indicator of where we may head with the next couple of big ones coming to market here. And what am I referring to? Obviously, the OpenAIs and the Anthropics of the world. Now, my big question is Anthropic going to split before going public? Because it's trading around, I believe, like $1,000 in the private market right now. So, if you really want to get retail interested in it, you're going to have to split. And I think what SpaceX did, extremely smart. 30% float, as you mentioned. And you split coming into market so you have that lower share price so more individuals can get involved with it. And I think that's a route that Anthropic needs to take.
All right, I don't see the market dropping. I just saw that big red candle on the Qs from 738 down to 735. It's recovering now. If you're wondering if there's a headline, I don't see anything that would be market moving in this way. We can go to Sia, though, if she's got something. No? You're good to go, Sia? Okay. All right. So, no, Sia's not seeing anything either, nor do I. The second we do, of course, we will apprise you. Oil pushing higher, says Charlie. Let me just take a quick look. There we go. Iran's top negotiator, Kalbaf, travels to Oman. His account on Telegram says, okay, I don't think that's necessarily bad. Keeping a close eye here on USO. Yeah, we're like 50 pennies off the low of the day on USO, so I wouldn't necessarily think it's that bad, guys. But anything that, we've got market moving. Sia's back there. She's on the ones and twos. I've got my blotter here. I'll be able to help as much as I can. Oh, my days. Willis Addison. Messi or Mohamed Salah? Who you got? You know what? The realist in me, the soccer fan in me, automatically says Messi. I mean, he's gifted in a way that I think very few people will ever be gifted. It doesn't matter the generation. He's, one or in two generations. So immediately, if you're a soccer purist, you got to say Messi. But the Egyptian in me, right, the proud Egyptian in me, obviously loves Mohamed Salah because he put Egyptian players on the map. We had some decent players, Mido, Amrazeki. There's been others, right? But nobody has put Egypt on the map like Mohamed Salah. So I'm going to say that, obviously, from that side. But great question, Willis. Great question, man. Love it. And yeah, man, I can't take this smile off my face. Very proud of the boys yesterday. But hey, the work's not done. We got to win the group. And then we'll see exactly where it ends up going. So shout out. Gamecraft, Nico. Okay, NXTS open. This one was halted down. It bled its own blood. Now it's holding general trend. There seems to be a buyer, guys, generally in and around 17 on NXTS. It just breached it right now, but as you can see, the bid and the ask both above 17. I don't know how I feel about this. It made a move into 20, and then it put in 2 topping tail candles into 20, and it rejected. So this does concern me here. All right, so let's see if 17 holds. If 17 keeps showing its area, as a repeat offender area for support, we can base a trade off that. But for right now, I'm going to keep clear of this one. But I want to mention to you guys, there's others that are making moves. CORD into the high. Keel, KEEL, into the high as well. Just printed 737s. That's bottom right of your screen there. KEEL looking fantastic here, SSC. We'll go to see in just 1 second. SkyQ as well. I saw KC526 pounding the table, metaphorically, of course, about SkyQ, because we've been talking about SkyQ and how it has an ascending wedge pattern here, looking like a flat top break candidate, and there it goes into 210, only putting it 8 pennies below the high. Pardon me, the high of the day at 218. So watch out here. SkyQ, CORD, and KEEL making a move. I would be very careful, Sia, to trade NXTS as a long at these levels.
Thank you for that warning. I'll keep that in mind. We're going to take a pause, look at a breaking news for now. So IONQ, watch out, post quantum cryptography executive order here. The White House is aiming to issue an executive order on quantum tech as soon as possible. A person that's familiar with this matter has said in certain reports. This includes post-quantum cryptography. This is coming in from news reports, not confirmed, but speculative, so just keep an eye out.
Thank you very much for that, Sia. Oh, Burry takeover. No way. Michael Burry's chiming in on Lulu. Lulu is going to be taken out if this continues. Private equity has capital committed to retail, and this is good size, he wrote on his Substack. Huh. All right, more Iran stuff coming in here. Yeah, we can go to Sia. Sia's got the Iran news.
Yeah, we're just going to, again, keep an eye out. Iran's top negotiator set to discuss enhancing bilateral cooperation and joint efforts to consolidate Iranian arrangements for managing the Strait of Hormuz, his account on Telegram, saying that via his account on Telegram. And Iran's negotiating team has also departed to Muscat, as is now coming in from the IRNA. Also, like I said, Iran's top negotiators' visit to Oman includes Foreign Minister Arakchi via his account on Telegram. Just keep an eye out. USO dropping a little bit over there.
Joey, pull that down, please, bro. Boy, pull that down. This is a disaster. This is the chart on Lulu, guys. We cannot catch a break. This stock keeps on suffering. Doesn't matter if Elliott is involved. It doesn't matter if Chippy Dub is involved either. This stock just won't stop. Are we at multi-year lows here? Can you throw on the monthly on that,
dude,
Joey, if that's possible?
We're back at 2018 levels.
We're back at 2018 levels. So we've just wiped out 8 years worth of price accretion.
Boom, there it is, 2018.
Yeah, this is really hard to look at, brother. I mean, it's tough.
For shareholders, I feel for you. I sympathize for you. Even if you may want it or not, I personally wouldn't. That's just, you guys know how I am. I don't feel sorry for the decisions that I make. But I just said to Sharif, he's like, man, do you like it down here? And I said, no, man. To be honest with you, and a guy from work was like, hey, Joe, do you like Netflix down here? I've made up my mind for the next couple of years. We're going through structural change. It's AI, it's data centers, it's everything to do with this massive fundamental change within our day-to-day operation in the landscape that we work in. These tools are groundbreaking. They're changing everything from a technological standpoint, and that's what I'm going to keep my focus on. Okay. All right. So that, again, I have no business, nor I don't even think if the landscape even changed a little bit here, Sharif, I don't even think I would buy Urban Outfitters, which happens to be one of the better retail stocks from a performance standpoint. So I just don't like the retail. This is completely subjective, right? Like, this is my opinion. I just think that in the apparel world, it's a forever revolving door. One day you're hot, the next day you're not. And it's just from athleisure. That's exactly it. From athleisure wear. Like, think about it. Let's not beat around the bush. The most popular brand on the planet is probably Nike. You can go to almost every corner of the globe and find something Nike.
And look at the chart.
Look at the stock.
Yeah.
Right.
Can I say something else?
Yeah.
I think if you're going to be involved in a name like athleisure,
yeah,
it probably helps a lot to be athletic and to be in the into the kind of the exercise
in the world?
Space. And here's why I say that. You and I see a very, very consistent trend amongst the younger people. We've talked about this, especially younger women. They are a lot of them are wearing this brand, and feel free to chime in, please. Define, DFYN. Do you know about this?
Beautiful brand.
Beautiful
I
brand.
love
So you
Define.
like it?
Yeah, I've bought stuff.
What a
myself.
shock!
Yeah.
What a shock!
It's a great brand. It's good quality. It's good quality. It's good price range. They have great sales, and it's trending clothes for that price, which other companies, and I'm not going to call them out, don't have it for good quality. It's cheap.
But we'll call them out. We want to know. We like legit. You can say the company if you don't think they're quality.
Yeah, it's your opinion.
Quality.
Yeah,
exactly.
get it.
Respectfully, I think Able. I don't like Able's quality. I bought them recently, and quality's gone down. Gymshark is something I love all the time.
Can I ask your opinion on Aloe?
I've never bought from Aloe, so I can't comment on that.
That's
I find
fair.
it ridiculously expensive for some sets, which I can get for half price on Define.
Well, exactly.
And much better.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Right? Go ahead, Joe.
But that just adds to my point. The fact is, like, think about it. Gymshark was the hottest athleisure brand out there for a while, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then you had Aloe step in, and then with that you have Lululemon trying to compete with Aloe. It's almost the same thing right there. And then you have the Define, and and then you have what's that LA one?
Which one?
You know the LA Fitness, not the LA Fitness, LA Gear or something like that. That all the kids in the West Coast are wearing.
I don't know. It's not ringing a bell, bro. It's not ringing a bell.
Young LA.
Young
LA.
You
right?
picked it up
exactly.
immediately.
It's
Young
pretty
LA.
good. It's
Is it
pretty good.
actually?
Yeah.
Yes.
Young LA is pretty good.
But you see how crowded the area is, and it's just like, okay.
And that's why I was backing up your point. It's very
exactly.
easy to become the premier brand, and then it's super cyclical, right?
It's super cyclical, man. And then what I'll give credit to Gymshark is they have no brick and mortar. It's all e-commerce.
Well, that's the thing.
That's what you need, because otherwise you're just going to get rinsed on your margins.
Well, exactly. Seller at 11 here, 12. We're long. 96 is on SkyQ. We're looking for a breach of the high of day, 218. I'm holding here into the low 80s. Let's go up to Sia. She's got happening now.
Thank you so much for that. Before we dive into our stories for today, let's take a look at the three major averages. So the SPY, the triple Qs are both down on the day. The SPY down 0.30%, with the triple Qs sliding, closing, inching to 1%, and the Dow in the green up 0.36%. We're going to talk a couple headlines for today. We had this headline coming in. I mentioned it briefly. Let's take a deeper look. Meta, WhatsApp head Will Cathcart will be stepping down from his role after more than 7 years. Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg has said Meta is tapping Kunal Shah, who has founded Crude, which is an Indian fintech startup, to lead WhatsApp. Will Cathcart has served as the head of WhatsApp messaging service for more than 7 years, which is transitioning into another role at Meta, where he will be building new products from the ground up, Mark Zuckerberg has said in a post on Facebook as of today. And Kunal Shah, who founded Crude in 2018. Crude is a credit card payments platform that rewards users to pay their bills on a timely basis. Another ticker that I want to talk about is Lucid, LCID. The company has also said that the chief operating officer, Mark Winterhoff, is leaving the company, and the role of COO has been eliminated for good. The company has said that its plan would give it an annualized cost savings of approximately $158 million. Lucid's workforce reductions range from full-time employees, contractors, to hourly production workers as well in manufacturing, and this is coming according from a filing with the Securities and Exchange Commission. They've also said that they will be eliminating the second shift of production at its AMP1 factory. in Arizona. And finally, I want to talk SpaceX before I send it over to Neil for his lesson. SpaceX has signed a major computing power deal. I mentioned this again in the show before, but we're going to dive a bit deeper with Reflection AI for access to NVIDIA's GB300 chips at Elon Musk's Colossus 2 data center. Reflection AI will be paying SPCX $150 million per month starting the 1st of July of this year, with payments totaling about $6.3 billion if this deal runs through the year 2029. And that's all for your Happening Now. Neil, what lesson do you have for us today?
Thank you, Sia. The lesson of the day today is, you know what? There's more than one way to express a trade, and if you know where you're looking, then you don't have to have the perfect setup on the stock that you wanted. It might never come into play, but there's always something else out there that you can take advantage of. The example I'm going to use today is SpaceX. It's down 10% right now. Did it get to 180? No. Did it actually even trade off of VWAP? No. Could I have been in on the prior low? Yeah, there was a chance to get in here at 171. It got close to VWAP, but doesn't get there. But you're like, oh, well, what's the lesson to be learned? You missed the trade altogether. Well, you've got to be able to know where else you can look. Maybe there's like a rocket lab, like a sympathy play, or maybe there's an ETF out there. And in this particular case, it was simply NASA. Like a situation where, you know, I look at SpaceX, continue to trend down, doesn't really give me a VWAP look. I'm like, okay, well, if I'm trying to get VWAP at lunchtime, what's something related to it that rejected the volume weighted average price before? And as SpaceX was bouncing a bit, gave me a trade off of the volume weighted average price. It just ends up being NASA. And oftentimes you'll hear about being patient. Patience can be waiting for one particular setup on one particular stock. It can also just mean looking for like the right setup on anything in a group. You could be looking at a group of chip stocks, potentially. And the one that sets up could be different from what you were paying attention to earlier. Like I sat down today thinking Intel was a fail for me, and I sat down with like a second stock of potentially SMCI. It wasn't the focus. But when we started pulling back, that was a trend trade. When the long came back in, it's like, oh, well, SMCI is relatively strong. So that could be the bounce off the volume weighted average price, because that's the stock that's giving me the look. And if you are a trader that it may be like support and resistance, or certain times of the day you want to trade off a VWAP for those continuation plays, you've got to be willing to look at a name that might have not have been at the top of your list and simply take the setup that works. Now, for myself, I already knew that it was going to be down the line. It was a SpaceX, and then I actually was considering Rocket Lab instead at 100. I suppose I could have done Rocket Lab as 100 was a potential one. I settled on NASA simply because of what it did at VWAP before. It's the one that respected VWAP the most, so that's the one I went over to. Risk to reward, it's basically gonna be the same thing, as I'm gonna just move in order to try and catch the bid here and then hold for the lows. So you've got to do a little bit of picking and choosing, and I elected the one that, hey, respected the indicator that I happen to be watching. And you've got to be able to do that as a trader. It's one thing, sometimes you pivot away from a directional bias. Sometimes you pivot from the name that you thought was going to be the leader of the group or the stock that you're going to trade the most to something else. It could be related, it might not be, especially if you're a setup-bound trader. But you've got to have that flex in you. The same way if you came in today thinking bullish, and you'll hear me say this all the time, like the second if I'm looking bullish, and the second we're on the back end of a false break of the high, and then see this breakdown in the Qs, right? Like you're trending up, trend break the low, consolidation at the low. Like somewhere in here, I'm no longer really thinking longs. Like you've got to be able to reverse. Like some people might reverse up here, but even in a strong stock, I'm thinking get out of Dodge when this happens, and that's about 10:30 or so, right? Like you look at that time, and then you even look at the bottoms when we're flushing out the lows. You got to know when to get out of Dodge, and maybe you're right, maybe you're wrong. Like I got out of SMCI possibly a little bit too early because the market looks so weak, but I'd rather do that than the alternative. Like I'll be someone that's willing to say, hey, this stock that I wanted to trade is not the best setup for what I'm looking for. It's actually a different one, and I'll go to that stock. Or I'm going to get out because the market's showing a little bit too much weakness. I'm going to take my chances on taking the profit I've got in the pocket because I don't want to get stubborn about it just because I wrote it down or just because I had that idea in the pre-market. So you have to have a little bit of flex in you. I find it's very helpful as a trader. Like if I'm looking at a space stock or an AI stock, a chip stock, whatever it might be, crypto, there's something else that I might go to. Like if you see me trade IBIT, oftentimes I might pop to BMNR or something else, MSTR, if I think there's a better play or a better move happening, so that I can express the trade somewhere else if that somewhere else is a bigger opportunity, a cleaner setup technically. I don't want to be pigeonholed to only one idea or one notion because that's what I wrote down in the morning. That doesn't mean it's going to be the best trade or the best opportunity that day. So you got to keep an open mind. I think having in the back of your pocket, knowing like this is a symbol I'm going to go to. If this one's not setting up, I'll go to this, like SpaceX to NASA, or Rocket Labs, or like Intel to an AMD maybe, or Bitcoin or IBIT over to an MSTR, or possibly a BMNR. Those are things that you want to have in your back pocket as a trader. And I think it's very valuable so that you have a little more flex in you, which is always important. I'd give you a grade on the lunch, but it came a little bit late, so I haven't even taken the shrink wrap off this thing. They really wrap these up, man. Like it is literally shrink wrapped. There's so much on here, but I'm sure it's delicious because it's fried chicken. So I'm gonna send you guys back. Good luck in your trading. Unfortunately, the market doesn't seem to want it today. The shorts are taking over.
Yeah.
Jeez, Neil, way to leave him with an ominous message there.
Shorts are taking over, crazy stuff. Yeah, IBIT
Well,
selling.
it's true, he says, so.
Yeah. I mean, there goes IBIT, right? Like we're talking about this ascending wedge, fail city right there. And
Fail city.
Yeah, man. Look at this. What does that look like to you?
Why?
What does that look like? What does that look
what
like to you?
What am I? I'm preceded by an uptrend.
Oh.
I have a bulbous head and two puny shoulders.
Oh,
what am I?
He's not working out, that's for sure. That's crazy.
Misses upper body, my guy. You got to be getting an upper body.
That upper body. Too much leg work going on with IB. No such thing, actually. That's crazy. But no, in all seriousness.
Don't forget about the test levels, Joey. Test levels directly correlated with leg day.
With leg day. Yeah. Good thing we hit legs yesterday.
Bang.
And we put in, Milo and I put in over 35 kilometers of heel-toe express.
Can you believe that? He did 35 clicks on the weekend, walking and stuff.
Yeah, man.
Which is insane.
Yeah, it was pretty good stuff, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so here it is, Jesse. What we're looking at here on TSM, I'd be a little bit more patient, right? There's zero chance that I'd be chasing this all the way up here, but I mentioned this to a guy from work and a lot of other people who are saying, hey, what do you think about Disney? I know Old is asking me about Disney. And like, I'm going to talk my own book at this point.
Do it,
I don't care literally about any other thing right now than what it is going on with the tech space. Now, listen, we talk about the S&P 500, and we do cover a lot in the top 7 names. I understand there's other 493 names, but for me, within the hyperscalers and within this AI build-out, I stand on the case that right now, I'm not focused on anything else other than what we can potentially be, or what can be potentially provided within this tech trade. Like, look at SanDisk. Another all-time high here today, Sharif. We have Western Digital with a downgrade and almost hit all-time highs, right? And then you have Micron up another 5%. Now, are we going to be chasing these things all the way up here? No, but I think at some point you're going to get a nice pullback and a good entry point. And as long as the big boys are continuing to spend their money, now they're starting to raise funds, so maybe there's going to be a little bit of a narrative change there. But other than that, we're rolling into earnings season once again. What is the CapEx going to look like in the following quarters? And I think that's going to be a massive teller on what may happen with the Microns, the DRAMs, the SanDisks, the Marvells of the world, and what trajectory and what path they can be on in the future. I still think we have a couple of more years left in this big-time bull run.
Well, did you see what Bernstein said today about Micron?
What did they say?
They're like, okay, so 70% gross margins on a physical product, NVIDIA-like, right? But they don't think the good times are going to last forever. But they're not being bearish either. They're like, okay, look, they're going to be able to maintain this pricing power going into 27, likely for all of 27, and then they're saying probably the first reduction in gross margins probably into 28. But when you hear some other analyst agencies, they're like, no. This is until the end of the decade. Like, we're not going to see a let up in the tightness of inventory until at least 29 going on to 30. So I'd say that Bernstein is a little bit low. And Bernstein wasn't even bearish on it. They just said likely a margin hit. They didn't say a slowdown in sales, right? But typically you do have a margin hit because you have a slowdown in sales and you're forced to reduce costs. So they're usually correlated.
Dude, by no means am I stating that this party's going to last forever, but I don't think it's ending tomorrow is what I'm getting at, essentially, right? So listen, I say it all the time. It's all fun and games on the way up, and then everybody's like, what's happening when stocks start to sell aggressively? Eventually, that narrative will change. But for now, I think there's a little bit of a broader horizon for me personally. I know we're going to send things back to Adara.
We're going to take a look here at CCL. Carnival Cruise Line's on watch here after Attorney General Ken Paxton of Texas announces that his office is going to be investigating Carnival Cruise Line related to a data breach in April of 2026. So this data breach from 2 months ago being investigated now. Apparently, this compromised the data of roughly 6 million people. Ken Paxton's office saying that over 8,000 Texans were part of the compromised data set. Interesting here, Carnival Cruise Lines actually reports earnings before the bell tomorrow morning, and Ken Paxton has a history of investigating public companies. This infographic, we've already had an investigation into Celsius and Alani Nu since I made this, but as you know here, this is just in the start of 2026. Ken Paxton is a very litigious fellow when it comes to public companies. He's already announced suits or settlements with the likes of Procter & Gamble, Cal-Maine, Snapchat, Lululemon, Spotify, CVS this year alone. So we now have CCL joining that group ahead of their earnings again, less than 24 hours from now. Back to you.
Hey, you should sue them for having bad cruises. Have you seen some of the videos coming off CCL?
I heard
Stick to Royal and Norwegian.
It's like the Spirit. It's like the Spirit version of cruise lines.
Chaos. The videos that I see.
I don't understand why people
Has anybody
do that,
actually been on a Carnival cruise? I'd love to hear your direct opinion. Positive, negative, would you ever go back? I'd love to hear that. So Carnival is the poop cruise.
Yeah, that's a documentary, so maybe.
Carnival Cruise. Oh, whoa,
whoa,
we're
not going to read that.
Yeah.
Notorious?
Yes, many, says Kahlua. And did you see this Kahlua guy, bro? He's in Vegas right now, man.
I know, but Kalua's always partying in Vegas. This guy makes a couple grand, and then he goes to parties and rock.
Spirit Airlines of cruises, exactly what you just said.
That's what I said.
Literally just said that. That's hilarious. Yeah, okay. I have been on a Carnival, says Trader Rob. It was a giant party for sure. Yeah. There are definitely people who are a little bit more rambunctious. Yeah, I get that feeling. Ozen's been on 0 cruises. Trader Rob goes on to say, it seemed like most people on the Carnival were within driving distance of the port who kind of do this all the time for fun. Really? That's interesting there. Scott, Carnival is ghetto of the seas. It's the worst. Okay. There seems to be a lot of consensus here amongst, not being very good. Yeah. In any event, I don't mean to crap on it, but that's just kind of what I see.
Hey,
we got to go up to see you, though, Joey.
It's like the Rio Republica of...
I didn't think Rio was that bad, bro. I never had any bad service with Rio. It was just drunk people on the sides of the pathways. But you know that going into Rio, but nobody was fighting. Nobody was doing
I don't understand why people do that on...
I don't understand either, bro. You're on a vacation. Relax.
I thought I was going to a Mexican jail one time, but anyways, I did, man. I was tripping out. Even though I didn't really do anything, but anyways, we'll send it back over there.
Yeah. See ya.
Sorry. You were just discussing some caffeine. Anyways, we're going to talk about small caps today. The IWM currently up by 0.7% right now, almost. We're going to take a look at a couple individual tickers for today. AGI, that's Alamos Gold, that's almost down 14% on the day. Price target has been cut to $80 per share from $87 per share by the National Bank. We have ABBV, AeroVironment, down 10% on the day. Shares falling after the company has said its financial statements for its quarter that ended in late January would have to be reissued due to an error. Now, the stock was down 8.6% at $154.97 today. Shares have now dropped 36% since the start of the year. And it disclosed before the opening bell that it has found an error in the calculation of the carrying value used for its goodwill impairment analysis of ABBV's space reporting unit. Well, as a result, the company's net loss has been understated by the company by $87.3 million, and total assets were overstated by $89.4 million. That's a big number there. Makes sense why the stock is reacting the way it is. We have GETY, Getty Images. We had breaking news with this in the morning, up 123% on the day. They have announced display partnership with OpenAI. Getty Images content will be appearing in OpenAI ChatGPT search and discovery. And that's a wrap on your small cap. Sending it back to you.
Yeah, I like it. We got Air 98. Carnival is great. Stop with the BS narrative. It's no good. He says he's been on many cruises. And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for, differing opinions. Be boring if everybody just thought,
I think everybody has a
crap.
different experience,
Yeah.
right? Like if you're just happen to not be with the right people on that cruise or people are starting fights, I think that the experience definitely varies. Yeah, thank you for that. See, actually, I want to talk about that because, Sharif, I don't know if you've been getting the emails from OpenAI, just try our image generation with Get Me. Yeah. So shout out to NFTs as well, too, if we're going to be talking about Getty Images. But no, in all seriousness, yeah, listen, I don't know if that's necessarily a narrative. Like, think about it. We've had Nano Banana. We've been using that for quite some time now. At least they're showing up to the party at this point. But I think there's deeper problems rooted within OpenAI. I think what I do believe, though, Sharif, is because we talk about this from a day-to-day thing. It's a conversation that we have quite often. I don't know if retail looks at OpenAI as we personally do, and I'm not saying that's the case. Maybe people do, and retail, I think, are a smart group of individuals, right?
Yes.
But I don't think they're running as in-depth to what's going on behind the scenes, opposed to that this was the greatest tool that people got to experience relatively quick and the fastest growing app within, obviously, ChatGPT.
But I think retail is alive to the fact that chat sucks.
Yeah, it's starting
to. It starts putting rail guards on them as well. And the case I was giving you, the example I was giving you last week was the peptide research that I was doing. All of a sudden, it was of the opinion that, peptides are not to be asked about, and that, it needs to put guardrails and babysit me in my research. Whereas the more conservative of the companies, the company we've attributed to being a doomerist and a reg capture type company, regulatory capture type company, Anthropic, their Claude model absolutely lets you engage in that sort of research. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, this is just my example. There goes a SkyQ. We take it out at the $0.25. Sorry, the third of a dollar, ripped up there into the high of day at 234. We got 33s. Watch out, okay? Coming back into the $0.25. But the company that, or the example that I'm giving you is one that I encountered. I'm willing to assume a lot of other retail, users of chat probably encountered something similar. Where, all of a sudden chat woke up one day on the wrong side of the bed and told them it couldn't answer their questions anymore regarding a certain subject matter.
I've had that issue with Gemini as of late as well, too, though. It doesn't want
Is that right?
Yeah, it doesn't want to answer some of my questions. I forget what I asked.
Can you tell me specifically the subject
Honestly,
matter?
I wish. It was definitely, it wasn't bad. It was political in nature.
Interesting.
And it didn't want to give me an answer. And I forget what it was, but it wasn't like an offensive question or anything along those lines. It was a straightforward question, and it didn't want to give me the answer.
Interesting.
Yeah, but then that's when I went over to ChatGPT,
and it gave me an answer. It's funny how everybody's having a bit of a different
experience,
I see it
right?
there, Yannick. Yannick's calling out a halter. Okay, ENTX ripped up just seconds ago here, halted $2.26. This name is up 86 3/4. Is it 1,100? 111, pardon me, $1 million market cap, having done 8.87 million shares on the day, with the largest volume bar being the one that just printed there on the halt up. Let's load up ENTX on a trading screen and get a gander of what this one is offering traders today. ENTX, we'll be able to see the tap. So current tap, 14 pennies higher than where we closed. $2.40 is the theoretical auction price. So this one apparently was a halter before. So no, it halted at 12.16. That is when it halted. So this one will be 12.17 on the dot. So 12.17, the earliest it should have been open is 12.22. It is currently 12.22. 45. So this one looks like it will be a 10-minute halter. 12:27 will be the earliest this one opens up. ENTX, the ticker on the NQ, showing 8.87 million shares, as I mentioned, 12:17 halt time. So we're going to replace somebody here, EHGO, pardon me. We're going to put ENTX in its place, and we're going to update the old side chart over there for ENTX. We'll see what this one has to offer. When it opens up, we'll obviously keep an eye on the theoretical auction price as we get closer to opening time. Again, the opening time earliest will be 12:27 on the dot because this one halted 12:17 on the dot. So set your timers, do whatever you need to do to get ready for this one. So ENTX in focus for me. Separately, I did stop out of the last remaining amount on NIXX. In my opinion, this is a failed break of 150, having gotten to 155, the high of the day on NIXX. Look, if it comes back into 135, holds a volume weighted average price, we could have another conversation about a long, but currently I'm not liking the look of this one's jib. So we'll get out of that. But I want to say that SkyQ, despite the fact that I got that high a day and it dropped back down about 10 pennies, I don't think this one's done. It just has a lot of resistance. Basically every 10 pennies it's moving. So try to pick it up at the area low. My suggestion would be on this one to pick it up at around the 10 EMA on the 5-minute chart. It seems to defend that level over and over again. So that is what I'm looking at there. Adam, your comment got held back. I met my...
Yeah, I don't know about repeating that
Whoa.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
What is happening there, Adam? I love this guy, bro. The fact that he knew the Egyptian chant for when we win, he actually said Tahia Masr, which means like go Egypt in Arabic, right? Which is like, what the hell? How do you even know that?
This guy, he's a smart
pure
cookie.
soccer fan there.
He is a real. I've seen his soccer skills too. We're not going to talk about them.
Microsoft News, Joey.
There's Microsoft
People are yelling
News.
about Microsoft. We're going to look
pull
at
it up
right here.
A guy from
Should
work
we
was
send
asking.
it?
Yeah, a guy from work was asking me about Microsoft.
Okay.
Let's pull that up right now. We're all out of Hive as well.
Okay, here it is.
I thought we were going to.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Should we come to you for Microsoft? No problem. We'll take a minute there for Sia.
You have it. You have the news, Sharif.
We'll let Sia do it.
Yeah.
Joey, but yeah,
you have it.
Microsoft bleeding its own blood today in Mag 7 world. It's an ugly bunch. Do you see Netflix down?
No, I don't care about
6 1/3. Down goes Netflix into that. It's about to lose $70, man. It is at 72.5. Look at this sell program on the flakes. My
that is
days.
crazy.
Oh no, Netflix. Well, it is what it is.
That's why we sold out of that guy.
Take your time, Sia. No worries. Netflix having a tough day. So is Google, but Google off the area low. I'm feeling like I should have went into my portfolio here and bought some Google.
Why? You're going to be able to get it at $330.
Wow. I like that, Joey.
That's what I'm telling you right now. You're going to be able to. You're going to be able to get it, maybe not exactly 330, but you'll be able to get it 335. In my opinion, think about it, that's $10 away. That's one session. That's
it's
already
$10
down,
away.
right? So you get another week, couple of days.
Yeah.
Now, listen, I was talking about us being down 13% off of the highs when I decided to buy a little bit of Google at 350. It bounces all the way up to 374. Once this candle was breached, I'm like, okay, be prepared for some more downside. And I think at this point, where's that 20% marker? 323. Right? Where did Micron, you got that pullback in Micron at one point.
Yep. And
then what happened there? 20% to the T, Sharif. So you hit bear market territory, and then you have people step in and be like, yeah, okay, whatever. AC Slater to that. We're going to buy that up and then push price and additionally another 40% higher. I think that's going to be the exact same narrative here with Google. I know we had that... headline today that Jumper was literally going over to Anthropic. I don't know how much weight I'm going to hold to that, to be honest with you. And if this is the reason for the actual stock selling, well, guess what? I'm going to be buying some more because I have that cash and I'm prepared to do so. We grabbed a little at 350, 330, 335 is going to be my next target, and I'm happy with those prices. Literally, if you go back and you see any stock that says buy the dip, it's in my opinion, it's this one. Now, with the exception of being down 44% in November of 21, this is COVID times, look what the run it's been on since that point. I can't believe when I knew absolutely nothing about the market. I owned this name, I owned Apple, and I owned a couple of other strong names, and I sold them off. This is a name that I wish I never, ever let go, and it's in my long-term portfolio right now, Sharif, and I can say with the utmost confidence that it will be a very long time before I even look at pressing the sell button or ring the register within Google. Okay, and if I do, it's because this stock is at $600-700. It's split. I'm looking to take a little thing off. So why? I could buy a little bit more at a lower price. It's literally that for the rest of my days. That's an extreme exaggeration, but that's how much confidence I have in this company. Well, it's like, guess what? The chip trade cools down. Okay, what are we going to talk about next? Autonomy, the fact that they're getting cheaper vehicles and they're going to have the ability to spit out more. No more spending $250,000 on LiDAR and Jaguar. I think that's big for this name. No, in all seriousness, you know what I mean here? It's massive for this company because at one point you're going to see robocabs left, right, and center, and Elon Musk literally laughing up a storm the fact that he has the ability to produce these vehicles at like $35,000 and then has a pretty good margin on them. I think Google's going to fall into that neck of the woods too. And then also, Quantum comes back into play. Well, you have Willow. So it's just literally there's so many plays.
I don't disagree with that at all.
There's so many different plays within this name that can keep the ball rolling and the future outlook very, very positive and bright.
Let's go up to see at the big desk.
Yeah, the Microsoft story that we were talking about, nothing breaking as of now, but it was earlier in the morning, just from 2 hours ago, that there was a data center announcement involving CVX this morning. So they announced that its unit Energy Forge 1 LLC has signed a deal with Microsoft to build a 2.67 gigawatt gas power plant in West Texas to supply Microsoft-operated data center under a 20-year agreement. So it just seems that it's continuing from that. There was not a major news, but yeah, just some context.
Thank you very much, Sia. All right, guys, involved in ENTX here. There it goes again. Seller at 55, looking for 58, looking for more. We've got 51s. We did add on to this one, but we got more in just moments ago. We did scalp up all the way up into mid-60s. This is having trouble. Number one, holding above 50 on a strict basis. Number two, it's having trouble going into that 70 penny area. So it's a lot of resistance here at $0.0025. And you can see the shorts setting up really aggressively in and around the half. So trying to see how this cookie crumbles. The prior halt level is 226, right? But we've still got higher lows on the 5-minute bars. I don't know if that continues to hold here as we're pretty close to testing prior bar low. Let's see how this ends up doing, but I want to see a bigger move here, possibly into 3. But before we do that, we got to shake this seller here that's setting up quite aggressively at the $0.50. ENTX, so what I'm talking about, bleeding now into 43. I stop out below 30, at 33, but right back into the $0.50 where we are encountering that same seller again. Now, they were selling at 55s, then 53s, so it's this reduction in their entry. I'm talking about the seller and or short seller. Now you're seeing it at 47. Do we see it again at 50? Let's see if the algo that they're using is posting at multiple levels. It looks like we are making lower highs now, so I am concerned a little bit here about a flush down. Joey, what are you looking at?
Good stuff. We're all out of hive here, guys. I mentioned this. We'll just kick that to the curb, really. I don't mind not trading this whatsoever. Typically not a name that we talk about very often here, even though it was a sponsor of the show. Nicely up 20%, but you can see that high of the day break failed for us, so there's no need for us to continue to hold on to it. Now, what I'm really getting at is, do I add into our position? Now, I'm sitting on approximately like 5.5% of what I've had on that initial move after that VWAP pullback and that re-entry off of this strong ABCD pattern on the 5-minute time frame. Now you can see some indecision prints being formed right at the volume weighted average price, but we also do have consecutive lower highs, which is something that we need to keep an eye out on. If we have a 5-minute candle open up on the backside of this trend specifically, then I think that could be a green light to add a little bit of shares and free roll. By no means am I going to be putting on any additional risk. That's not the objective of this specific add into this trade. What I want to do is use the unrealized gains that I currently have right now to acquire more shares, but also at a stop loss price where It's not too tight, and if it comes back, then it's break even. So really, it's just a free addition of shares using unrealized gains, a methodology that we would like to call free rolling. Go ahead.
All right, guys, ENTX, just barely south of the high of the day. We're holding the $0.50. This is showing 2/3 now. There's an aggressive seller at 2/3 right at 66s. But be on the lookout. If we clear 66s, I'm anticipating more resistance at 75. I don't think it's going to be a beeline to 3. If we get to 3 at all, you're seeing another rejection there at 2/3. So be on the lookout here. We're looking to defend that 33 area. Let's go up to SIA with Sector Watch.
Thank you so much for that. The SPY, again, currently down 0.32% on the day. We're going to take a look at the sectors. So starting with electric tech, we have NVIDIA in the red, 0.52%. Apple almost up 1%. AVGO up 3.5%. We have Micron up almost 6% on the day. Micron had that rising after Bernstein has raised its price target from $1,300 to $1,300 from $510. It's a pretty big jump from there. With that, INTC also up on the day, 4.2%. We had Mizuho raising its target price on Intel to $135 from $128. Moving on to tech services, we have Google, Microsoft, Meta, Oracle, Netflix, Palantir, all in the heavy reds. Google down 6%, Microsoft down 3%. We had news with Google that it's investing in independent movie studio A24 as part of a new AI research partnership between the two companies. And in tech services, again, we have Google, DeepMind, and A24, like I just said, announcing first of its kind research partnership I just mentioned. We also had that news with Meta, the change in leadership regarding surrounding the WhatsApp messaging service. We also took a look at energy minerals. CVX, Project Kilby, expected to consume nearly 2.67 gigawatts of electricity, equivalent to about 2 million homes. And moving on, that also involves Microsoft, currently down 3%. We're going to take a look also at retail trade. Amazon currently down almost 4.6% on the day, moving its Prime Day to June from July for the first time since the year 2021. So Bank of America is expecting this 96-hour event to generate around $21.6 billion in goods sold. With that, in health, we have Eli Lilly declaring Q3 2026 dividend of $1.73 per share. We also have ABBV that's currently up almost 7% on the day, agreed to buy AbbVie Therapeutics for about $10.9 billion to bolster the pharmaceutical company's core immunology franchise. With that, energy is in the green. Health tech looking pretty good. Tesla also up 2%. We had that price target as well for Tesla. Producer manufacturing looking pretty good. Finance, a little bit of a mixed sentiment. Bank of America up 2.3%. JPM up 2%. Commercial services, non-energy, industrial sector, and communication, a bit of mix, a lot of flat. Sending it back to you.
Much for that. See, yeah, I'm just looking at some of the top performing sectors as well too. Thanks. It was a strong morning, right? And now things are starting to cool off a little bit. We were up 23% in Hive Digital. We had Tesla going on a big time run, now just moving sideways along the volume weighted average price. So I'll keep my eyes on some of these names. Google getting hit to the downside as well, as it was mentioned, and some of the heavier tech names taking a little bit of a beating here today, but on the grand scheme of the bigger picture, I guess we can say, Sharif, is everything isn't so doom and gloom at this point. No. Discounts, in my opinion, on a lot of these names. Now, this is the one name that I have quite a bit of size on, actually, which has been building in it, and it hasn't been performing and living up to its name. What is Mark Zuck and company going to do in order to get this stock rocking and rolling again? Is it going to be increasing his CapEx once again? I don't think so. It's more or less, how are we going to start making some ROI on all of the capital expenditure that he's been going through the past couple of...
Crazy, yeah?
Yeah, I'm just waiting for it. I like how...
It's an ugly chart, man.
It's very ugly.
I'm happy I got the hell out of there, too, though.
Listen, this is a name...
I would have been out of the money at this point.
I am. I'm long 600. Pretty much. I have a little bit below. Yeah,
because you're holding it for the long term, though. No?
I am.
Yeah. Well, then that's a great.
But I need something big for Zuck. we need to see he's getting into cloud compute or do something, because I think, I don't think it's the elephant in the room here at this point, Sharif, that his tools in his super intelligent lab are a little bit lackluster with the products that they've been bringing.
Oh, I don't disagree with that at all. And the amount of acquisitions that he's made, talent acquisitions, scale, obviously. Do you know what he's doing in there, though? This is kind of the thing. I was listening to reports that morale
is low there.
Very low. He's taking high-end engineers. 50% of the time, they're doing AI labeling, which is what Scale AI did. So these large language models, they don't like to look at pictures and discern what they are. They'd rather have them labeled ahead of time so that they know this picture in a text version, what the hell it is. So these like highly skilled engineers are devoting 50% of their work time to this AI labeling. So it's aggravated a lot of people. So apparently he's increased like the perks because he's trying to boost morale again. So now you get a little bit more money in terms of your food spend. There is like cake now. Who knows? There could be what's it called? Cupcakes and pie. Right in the cafeteria there for the Meta employees. No, but seriously, so morale is low. In addition to the fact that he was tracking how they worked so that he could replace them, which he's no longer doing, if you believe some of the reports. Right?
That's
so Meta is in a state of flux right now.
You know those memes where it's like, everybody's like, morale is low at work, but then at the end of the year, the company just throws a pizza party and everything's good.
Yeah, the old throw me a bonus, bro. I don't hold on to the pizza. Throw me a tax deductible bonus.
The pizza party.
You know what I mean?
No, but we had that, Sharif. We kind of knew that was the narrative within Meta because he had the restructuring as well too. There was a lot of shuffling going on. So if morale is low and you're not coming out with these high quality products that you were expecting, because I remember we were having the conversation that when he started poaching all this talent for a super intelligence lab, and he was the Alexander Wangs of the world.
Right.
I was like, I'm looking forward to what these guys are going to spit out.
Same with me.
A year later, you get Muse, Spark, and a couple of other tools.
Not good enough, Joey.
Which is unfortunately not good enough.
Not good enough. And we have Hypercube Z6L. Ha ha ha. Dude, we used to have incredible food benefits. CFO cut it to the bone. I'm assuming, of course, you were employed by Meta or still are. Shout out to Hypercube. Thank you for kind of chiming in with your view on that, because we're obviously not going to have insider information unless somebody in the chat gives it to us. Ozan, Sharif, and they get paid hell of a lot of money to label photos, and their morale is low. Thanks. I don't buy it. They are being too spoiled. You got a good point, Ozan, man. You know, a lot of us would not mind being on that side, right? We wouldn't mind wearing that shoe to get paid, you know, maybe to do work that's a little bit beneath us, but get paid a salary, perhaps, you know, equal or a little bit above our pay grade there. I don't disagree with that at all. But, you know, people have a way of looking more at the negative than the positive, I guess. But that's why I'm just repeating to you guys some of the anecdotal stories that I get. You know, a lot of this stuff I get on Tech Talk, right? So if you're a follower of Tech Talk on TikTok, of course, you get this kind of stuff. But that's why I feel like TikTok is super important as, like, you know, a source of insider accounts, because it is very creator driven, you know, like people who actually work in these things, you know, they put their takes out there. X as well, right? To be fair, X, you get a lot of good takes, but I find X to be very vitriolic. People just tend to be more rude and just negative in general on X, and I kind of don't like that a little bit, but it does, old Toby, it does. It has a lot of crap on there, but if you're able to filter some of the crap out, it can be a good source of information.
It's a cesspool of negativity.
It's very negative. It is, dude. It is. It's like people crapping on people as like as the main post, and then God forbid you should get into the comment section.
Dude.
And then, like, it's just literally profanity.
It's crazy because
racism.
People still go back and forth with each other. That was a thing that I did. Like in high school, back in the day, but people are still. Remember,
like, it's like Teigen, she had to walk that back because she was like mean to everybody in on X in 2010, and then the whole cyberbullying thing reared its head at the beginning of this decade, and she was getting called out with all her mean tweets.
The internet never forgets.
This cancel culture and all of this stuff, man. That's why I'm
not about that life. I'm not about that.
I remember I got into. Remember the old? Actually, I don't even want to talk about that stuff. Let's talk about it. No, I'm talking about a long time ago.
All right.
Just get into arguments with people. It's like you really don't care. Like at the end of the day, you're just posting. There will be something new that comes up on social media that you'll cry about, and it's just every couple of months.
There's something to offend everybody on social media.
It's like,
if you want to be offended, get onto social media in the comment
exactly,
section.
Right? Anyways, goggles, SpaceX. Wow. Okay, Sharif, we're down 10% here.
We're down 10.5%. It's bleeding, Joey.
It's really bleeding. I think at this
this is very pleasing here, man.
Yeah, I mean,
to get in more.
Grab some more
Yeah, absolutely. I have baby shares, Joey. I mean, I can't buy at the highs like that. That's crazy, right?
No. 180. I had an order out at 180. I thought I put it at 170. That wasn't the case. So I went 180, 170, 150 here. So that's going to be my next fill. It's going to be the opening price on SpaceX from that initial IPO date. I feel like it honestly, even though this is literally a week and a bit ago, it feels like a lifetime ago that this thing came to IPO. You get 50% return if you happen to get that $150 opening price all the way up to $225.
Mike.
Me?
Everybody's saying Mike. Joe's Mike, guys. Yeah.
Mike's.
Yeah, Mike is fine. Audio is fried. Sound check, Mike. Okay.
Give Joe more.
Stop, Minnesota trader. Why would you say that?
Yeah, that is great. I don't know about that individual.
You want me to take over for Assassino? Are we good? Okay, we're good.
All right,
okay, we're good, Joey. Yeah.
I told my boy Jesse, you're lucky that I've turned a new leaf there. Anyways, aside from that, let me get back into some of these names, like the Marvels of the world. We're sitting at around.
Let me ask you quickly here. So, what was your experience there with the German fans coming through your area? What did you think, man? Like about the whole soccer vibe?
It was great.
Yeah, it's fantastic,
isn't it? It's great. And there was street party all night and stuff there.
Bear party.
Right on, right on. Like all the bars were hosting people outside. They had the outside patios going on, man. It's a really good vibe.
They're a tall, big bunch, aren't they, bro?
A lot of big dudes, man.
Big dudes, man. Oh, my days. And they walk in packs.
They do.
It's like...
Yeah, they do. But yeah, it's cool, man. I found them pretty respectful. I think that's...
Exactly. I agree.
One of the most important things is they were respectful to the city streets, and that's all we really ask is be respectful when you go somewhere else. I expect the exact same treatment
as
where
I found them to be very polite as well. Man, like they were asking for directions, like very, very, everybody has their own experiences with people, obviously.
Exactly.
But Dallas has ran out of beer. Yeah, I heard about that. I heard they ran out of beer in Boston as well because the Scots drank you guys dry south of the border, man. You guys, see, that's the thing, man. You don't know what they do over there on the other side of the pond, man. They are drinkers, and they don't even mind drinking it warm. They like their beer tepid on that side, if you didn't know. But that's the way it is. No, man, I think this has been one of the craziest atmospheres as well for the World Cup. And I'm seeing a lot of positivity coming out of Europe as well. Like a lot of European creators are just in awe about how, gargantuan and palatial some of these American stadiums are. It's not something that I think is, done en masse in Europe. But I'm liking the vibe because, the media was so quick to paint this possibly as a failed World Cup. The tickets weren't selling. People weren't coming. The hotels weren't booked. The flights were empty. Really?
Bruh.
Yeah, they like that doomerist approach, Joey, because that's what sells.
I would have liked there to be a couple more big games at Toronto Stadium. I just think the infrastructure is there. It's a little too spread out, in my opinion. Maybe eliminate a couple of the cities and have more because it was great. It's fantastic. It's an amazing
But you know what?
It's great for business.
I see your point. There's a lot of host cities because it's 3 countries and it's a big-ass continent. But the point is, all the cities have pretty much had at capacity games.
Yeah,
I mean, there's been very little in the way of empty seats from the games that I've seen.
Dude, I was walking down Lakeshore, and I was just thinking to myself, where are all of these people going to sit? That's how many people there were.
Yeah. Well,
right?
they're packing Toronto hotels.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
what they're doing.
Well, no, there's just that many people there. I knew that it was going to be a sold-out event for sure.
So
I just think there should be more games at Toronto Stadium because
I agree with that.
the Germany Côte d'Ivoire game was probably the biggest one that they're going to host.
Yeah, that was the biggest one.
Yeah, it's the biggest game they're going to host, right?
Let's go up to Sia.
The pound and government bond prices holding a bit lower today. We also saw that Prime Minister Keir Starmer resigning, potentially paving the way for rival Andy Burnham to take over as Britain's 7th leader in this decade. We're also going to take a look at the USD JPY pair here. Sorry, just give me 1 second. Yeah, there we go. Japanese financial authorities have kept the market guessing about the possibility of the currency intervention. So potentially to say that the threat of BOJ intervention hanging over the USD JPY pair once more. And then taking a final look at the dollar trying to break higher since the first round of the US-Iran talks that had fueled investor optimism for a deal, while the yen, as I mentioned, also is inching towards 40-year lows, keeping traders, and as they're right, on edge over the possible intervention coming in from the BOJ.
Yes. Thank you very much for that, Sia. I was just responding to somebody in the chat. All right, let's get to work over here. Assassino, I'm not liking anything. SSPC, that's trading at 11 2/3, 10 pennies less off the high of the day, but it is setting up in a double top type fashion. So I'd say be on the lookout for a loss of 11.30. If you don't get a loss of 11.30, you don't get the double top. In fact, you probably move on to 12 bucks. 11.76 high, showing 11.68 right now. Generally respectful of trend at the 10 EMA. That is SSPC. Also, NXTS. Look, this one's seen better days, obviously, but it is at a key area of technical support. So I feel inclined to tell you that this one has generally some support here at 14, which is the volume weighted average price. You're not going to see me buy that, though, there, because it is an unbroken lower low, lower high setup off that 23.80 high. In fact, off that high a day on the current price action, we've lost about 42 1/3%. Off there, so I'm going to need to see something a little bit more positive. SkyQ also rejecting 2 1/3. In fact, 234 is the high of the day. Looks like it's losing 2 here at the moment, and could see 180 sooner rather than later. This one has had some respect generally here for the 10 EMA, or sorry, for the volume weighted average price, which is currently showing 180. And I would also like to point out that this 180 to 185 area also happen to be that pre-market high. So the fact that we've cleared it, coming back into it now, could present itself as a good opportunity right around 180 to 185 for an ad on SkyQ. I probably won't take that unless I see a little bit more. But for the first time on the day, we are starting to see a bit more of a pronounced pullback here on CORD. CORD is not up big. It's up 17.5%, 481 high. Volume as well has been declining. Bottom right of your screen, this is something that I've been more alive to lately. Volume price action divergence, and this is, your prototypical one. Look at the price action, a symphony of higher highs and higher lows. But just take that area, that pivot area, from 940 onwards, it's been lower highs on the volume bars. So watch out for a bigger pullback here. A bigger pullback could pull you in, I would say, to about 465 to 460, so right around that 2/3 of a dollar area. If that 2/3 fails, I'd be generally saying look at the half dollar, but there's really not a whole lot of price action support at the half dollar. I'd be more inclined to say a deeper pullback into 4 1/3, and that tracks a little bit better here with the technicals. How come? Well, you got that initial breakout at 930 that rejected 4 1/3, and now you have the volume weighted average price just a skosh above that 4 1/3 area at 435, 436. So you're already losing the 10 EMA on the 5-minute chart for the first time on the day here on CORD, right? You haven't even gotten a breach of that 10 EMA since around 10:05. So we're closing in here on 3 hours of defending, and now we're getting a print below that level. So Cord could be giving it up here. NIXX, what the hell is this thing doing? Why was it doing nothing at 145, then just gaps up into 149? I don't want to trade this either. I'm positive on it on the day. It's one of my bigger winners on NIXX, but it's showing me a lot of bearish signals here in addition to the declining volume. So I'll have no qualms with that one. So we'll see exactly what else comes up on the scanner. But as always, if there are good small cap gappers that are making a move that I've neglected to mention, please do mention them, as you guys always do. Here you guys come fast and furious. I ask, I get. The chat is undefeated. Let's look at some of these over here. Drew Farrell saying TNON, and then we're going to look at Neurages in a second. Let's go to the 5-minute on here on TNON. Tanan. Very consolidative, Drew. Look at this, keeps coming into 80 pennies and it keeps rejecting, but by the same token, it seems to find buyers in and around the mid-50s. So TNON, nice breakout there on Friday. It had a nice bump up early on, I want to say around 4:15 in the morning, but it was quick to retrace that. Since that time, it's found itself a consolidative range again, with the mid to high 50s as support and about 80 pennies to the high 70s as resistance. Neuraj, OBAI, $1 magnet. I love this. Shout out to my man Neuraj. He's been on these small caps a lot more lately, at least from my perception there. Neuraj, correct me if I'm wrong. OBAI, everybody's favorite OB derivative. OBAI, look, it's not bad. It had a really good last week, as you can see there on the 16th and the 17th. Then it bled its own blood on Friday. Trying to recover a little bit today. Break even on the day is 82 1/3 pennies. Neuraj, you're theorizing this one could make it to the dollar, and I am in agreement with you there. Why? Because, well, we had a lot of support in the pre-market on Friday at that dollar area. So if we do catch a bit of a bid, I'm assuming we'll probably have a little bit of resistance at 95 because that was the late morning high on OBAI. But if we can get through that 95, then we're looking at a dollar in the face, perhaps even a bit higher, get into that 105 area. Shout out to my man Neuraj. Why not take that cord short? Well, I'd have to check to see if it's available to borrow short, because the way that it works on this floor is because they don't want us gunslingers over here taking huge short positions when we're really not supposed to. The way they've structured it is we got to get our shorts, our locates as we call them, through a manager. We're talking about Brendo. We're talking about Neil. We're talking about the Katina man. So they got to get us the shorts. Neither one of them is here at the moment. And quite frankly, I don't really like taking these small cap gapper shorts. I feel like, sometimes I miss my time by the time I get my locates, this, that, and the other. So I just look to go long, but you're absolutely right. You can go short on cord, have at it, kill it. Shout out to my man C. Jason Do. Commodity King says LAES. Let's look at that one, then we'll send it back to Joey, see what he's up to there. Lace, oof, just popped up bigly there in the 3 1/5, 3 1/4, but did find a bit of a sell there down to 317. This one's got some earlier support from around 10 a.m., the high of which is 327. Lace is not looking that bad, man. It's back above VWAP here. It's trying to make a move back into 3 1/4, 3 1/3. LAES, barely green on the day, only 1 3/4 though, Joey.
A lot of people are asking me what's going on with Disney here today and with Netflix. I think some of it has to do with this Google investment into A24. Could be totally wrong, but I think that's what has a little bit something to do with it here, because it's growing competition. I honestly think A24 can almost go no wrong, except for with the exception of Smashing Machine. I had to turn that off. It wasn't a very good one. But anyways, aside from that, Netflix breaking through some key support levels of $74, now down to $72.39, and it doesn't look like things are going to turn around. We had that initial trend line break. This is where they step out of the bidding war between Paramount Skydance to acquire Warner Brothers, and then you have this strong upwards momentum at that point where I thought we were going to see some all-time highs within this name or head towards that neck of the woods anyways. Hasn't been the case whatsoever. You fail, you gap down, and then sure enough, you're now putting in some pretty big lows here. Like we're talking levels from October of 2024. If you go back in time, you might even be able to find that at another point. So it's been absolutely disastrous this year for Netflix. But I mean, there's been multiple names that have been in potential, or that have been in downtrends for quite some time, and I'm talking about Microsoft and everything along those lines. Let's send it off to Adara.
Just be aware here, guys, more comments coming out of the Middle East, this time from the defense minister of Israel. We heard earlier that the prime minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, said that the IDF would be able to act, or just like at least be waiting here in the Lebanon region in case any threats come from Lebanon. Now we're getting this coming from the Israeli defense minister, saying once again that, quote, the army is full backing from prime minister, from the defense minister, and from the IDF leadership, and full freedom of action to act decisively against any threat in southern Lebanon. Also, just seeing here, apparently the U.S. is going to be releasing 500,000 barrels of crude oil from the strategic petroleum reserves to VTOL. So a couple different headlines here related to oil. Here's the S&P 500, and here is USO. Back to you.
Actually, I don't want to do that just yet. We're going to wait. Well, I'll do it when Sharif gets back. Yeah, I appreciate you. Thanks, Fabian. Fabian's he's on one today. Manny's running around. He's doing his thing, putting in a lot of work as typical for Mr. Fabian. Now, guys, just heading back to our watch list and seeing what we got going on here. CrowdStrike actually, Sharif.
What happened, man?
CrowdStrike up 0.1% today. Your guy Pan W down 0.4. Oh no! I know, man. What are we gonna do? The sky is
I think these were like
falling.
at highs when I was at the gym, man. They
Yeah.
were at 295. They were knocking the door at 300. Rejected.
Yeah, that's all right. I think
all
they can
right.
get back and play. Something that is in a whole heap of trouble, and this is Zscaler. Zscaler is down 66%, where some of its peers here, the PanW and the CrowdStrikes of the world, are only a couple of percentage points off of the all-time high. Maybe this is going to be somewhat of a discount. Don't forget, we're going to be talking split here, not merger, split.
On the crowded one?
On CrowdStrike, yeah, we're going to be looking at a 4-to-1 there, Sharif, on this name,
4-to-1.
which I think is going to be good for investors, especially retail investors like myself who are sitting on some cash and want to grab some CrowdStrike. I'm waiting for Micron and SanDisk to split. Hopefully they do it relatively soon. Other than that, we just have to go fractionals or just grab a little bit of amount. But I can't chase this rally, and I refuse to, regardless of what happens at this point. There was a couple of opportunities that gave us a chance to get involved. We didn't pull the trigger on them. We were just waiting for some other opportunities. But I mentioned you pull back 20%, but then in the span of a trading week, a little bit more than that, you climb an additional 50% here within DRAM. So SK Hynix being the top holding within this specific ETF. Man, like this whole space has been on an insane run, and I'm glad that a lot of us here on the team had the ability to take advantage of it. Neil and Sean within Marvell and other plays as well. Neil in CrowdStrike too, so I don't want to talk his book or anything along those lines.
Yeah, we got President Trump saying some stuff.
Yeah, we have CrowdStrike down 40%. Let's send it off to Adara.
Be aware here, guys. President Trump just posting here on Truth Social about Iran, saying, quote, everybody is fully aware that Iran will agree to have major capital M, weapons capital W, inspections capital I, in order to ensure, quote, nuclear honesty, quote, close quote, long into the future. President, all caps, Donald J. Trump. So Trump basically saying here that it's apparently understood by, quote, everybody, that Iran will be agreeing to have inspections of their major weapons to make sure that they're honest about their nuclear program going forward. Kind of nothing massive, but just be aware he is posting about Iran. Back to you.
Okay, so that Woodbine and Steels. Warden and Steels. But I know that's not your. That's not. Well, Woodbine and Warden are parallel. They're pretty close. It's like right off the 404.
Yeah, bro. I know.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Well, yeah, if you're going up to Bradford. Well, you take 400 Bradford probably, right?
My old man lived in that area. So
did he?
My mom,
Yeah. All right, guys, NIXX looks to be the best in the bunch here. Just got back into that 155 area. That's where we wet the beak last time around, right? So we're just back into the high of the day. This will be the third attempt, and there it goes, breaching 155 for the first time on the day into 57. I think we're still below. Well, that we're matching now the pre-market high, which is at 57. That took us back all the way to 8:05 a.m. It's not a big NIXX 34. There it is again into 57s. If this breaches and we start getting a volume pickup here, likely indicating that some shorts are getting squeezed, I'm going to participate in this, perhaps into 3/4. There it goes, 59. We could see 60 soon, probably into 2/3, maybe 66. Here comes 60. That line there on 59 showing the size on the different gateways really shrunk down. So NIXX, look how the tape is starting to move a bit faster now. This is what I'm talking about. So the tape almost is sort of like a speedometer. about how quickly this name is moving, right? You can kind of get the idea, especially if it was moving super slow and then it starts really picking up. That's an indication that this one could be on the move. Here's 60 showing up, big seller here at 60, into 62 it goes. This one's on the move now, NIXX, 63 incoming. We could see resistance at 66 to 69. That's what I would say, and then possibly a move back down into the mid-50s, if not 50 itself. We'll see if we can get that, but I don't want to punch in at highs, seeing as we're super close to around that 2/3 of a dollar. So NIXX in focus, so SkyQ. You should be looking at this one as well, because it held that generally that mid 180s area that we talked about. That was the pre-market area top at around 830. It double bottomed there, so I think the low was around 88s. You can see kind of breach 90 momentarily, but here we are, right back above 2. What I would say though is watch out for resistance at 2 1/5. I would say typically 2 1/4, but we're really having trouble closing anything above 2 1/5. Only one candle at 12 o'clock was able to close above that. So be on the lookout there. Back though to NIXX, topping, tail into 62 and back down into 58 we go. This is what I was kind of thinking here. I want to see a test, now that we've breached it, of 50 to 55. Okay? You get something like that, I get in, I give it to just below 50 for an area defend. So if that fits your profile, if you're small cap gapper inclined, you're about that life, take a quick look at this one. And as I tell you about that, let me also tell you about this one, then we'll see what Joseph's up to. SSPC, trading again, you know, a couple of shekels off that 11 3/4 area high, 1176 to be exact, showing 67 right now, but it has generally been putting in, like, most of the time higher lows, but we have been in a bit of a period of consolidation here, I would say, for the last 20, 25 minutes or so.
Good stuff, man, my man. All right, guys, yeah, here, I mean, let's break it down. I mean, we're heading, it's 1 o'clock now, so I'm sure we're going to start the news. We'll talk a little trading here before we do. Now, I'm shooting at a 33% clip rate, but this is my one winner that we've been hitting on, that we've been holding on to all day. We take that initial loss here. Right, first trade, bang, we start with 0 for 1, right? But then I was like, I mentioned this right out of the gate of our show. Is okay, I'm not going to allow that to happen. Now, could it have failed VWAP one more time? Absolutely. But then we just double up our position, and then we've been fortunate to be riding this roller coaster, as my boy Jesse just mentioned here in Tesla. We're also sitting on the backside of this trend. Now, what we want to see is this 1363 level hold, and then that's going to give me the ability to add about half or double my current position, which would add a little bit. But once again, I'm sitting on about 4.5–5% of the remaining. For the end of the day, I could mock this, and it wouldn't affect my P&L. So we took one loss on Tesla earlier today, and we take one big time win. And then our second loss here being on Hive Digital. All right, so bang. Again, small share size. There was nowhere for me to add. I didn't like the price action. And then now, as you can see, I like what Sharif just mentioned there, is look at your time in sales. And you can use that as a speedometer and when you're really starting to accelerate. And I actually wanted to go over the example with the name that you were just talking about, that Nix trade. Yes, and it's like how you can just see a couple of things reflecting one another and how they correlate is that if we head over to the lower time frame, he's talking about the time, the tape speeding up. You're going to see that come through on the volume by time profile as well too. So when you have those things correlating, that's what I like about these small cap momentum plays, is because you can have those both happen simultaneously, and then that can give you your green light to go. And what happened, you have the previous pivot break here from earlier in the day, and that's when the volume and the tape really started to speed up and pick up, and you can see that reflected in the volume by time profile. Other than that, guys, Hive Digital really starting to pick up to the downside. That's fine. We don't really care about this name. We want to focus on what NVDA is up to. I thought that we were going to start seeing some light at the end of the tunnel on this Sharif. That hasn't been the narrative whatsoever. With that being said, let's head over to our buy put, says Jesse. Yeah.
Woosah.
All right, man. Breathe, man.
You know what they say, right?
You know what
Serenity now, insanity later.
Yeah. So
you know where that's from, Joey?
Just crash out right now.
You know where that's from?
What? Where's it from?
It's your favorite show, Joey.
Seinfeld?
Yeah.
What a carbon.
How do you know about that when you hate Seinfeld?
I
so
don't.
much?
Well, no, you just said it's my favorite show, so I got the sarcasm side of things, and I'm like, okay, it's Seinfeld. But no, in all seriousness, guys, like last week we were talking about 100,000 contracts being open at that 220 marker and at that 210 level. Now you can just see the concentration of like, I mean, higher double digits. We're not heading into the triple digits, but it's like 55. Yeah, you know,
it's her favorite show, bro.
Casey 526.
Shout out to Casey 526,
no,
man. Yeah, man.
Casey, that you just lost a couple of points in my book.
Wow.
No, but what I suggested
to judge people like that to their face, eh? It's like, all right.
Would you rather me say it behind their back, or at least me be honest?
Not at
with
all.
you, right?
Just be like, yeah, I like you. Yeah.
No, well, I just said she lost a couple of points because that's her favorite show now. I'm obviously only playing. But no, to back Casey up here, I suggested to Fabian, I said not only should we have the Super Chat gifts, but we should have the individual who gifts the most.
I agree.
Right up there. So the most membership. So we should put that up there. And
they are, he says.
They are?
Oh, yeah.
No. Where? No, that's cash. No. The people who gift memberships. You see what I'm getting? Like, because Casey on a daily basis is gifting like 50, 60 memberships, and we go membership crazy. So I think they should be recognized as well too. Just to add to Casey's point, you see what I'm getting at there now, Fabian. But here we go, and back to the options chain. You can see how cool we are with these in-the-money strike prices. But now look what happens when we're out of the money and then we reject 215. So, I mean, there's a concentration there. We're going to have to wait till the end of the week to see what's going to happen, or we might hold below, which we're currently trading at 209. We may hold below 210 right now. Who's it?
No, well, that's like the only acceptable answer there. Okay, that's fantastic.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, she's a smart cookie, isn't she? Yeah, there you go. Thank you, Casey.
I just got tested there, Joey.
Yeah.
You see,
Did you know what happened?
They tested me again.
What'd they say?
So, are the
you got the trivia questions coming up.
The trivia question. Shout out to Casey, by the way. Casey, thank you very much for the 10. Scooties, 1983. Sharif, how much money did Nana send to Jerry every year? A cool 10, baby. And he tried to deposit it, and then he ended up depositing the checks that were so old that the account she wrote them from didn't have any money. So they ended up bouncing. So the bank called Nana, was like, Nana, you're writing bad checks. This is not a good look. And so she had to go down to the bank to fix the situation, despite the fact that she could have fixed it over the phone. But, you know, being an old timer, she got to schlep down there. Now, the problem was, Joey, she schlepped down there to the old location. And there was no one there anymore. So she met this street tough. Yeah. The street tough didn't end up being a street tough.
What is
ended
that?
up being
What's
a kind guy, like a thug.
Oh, okay.
Right?
A street tough.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
He ended up telling her where the new location was. So she schlepped over there. She got it fixed, guys. There's not a lot that I remember this thoroughly. I'm not good with names or numbers or anything like that, but ask me about Seinfeld. I will know to the details. So shout out, man. I love these tests, and keep bringing them. I love these little kind of Seinfeld trivia.
Yeah, those bum checks are like what your boy.
They're a lot of fun, man.
What your boy Floyd has been up to.
Oh, Floyd. Yeah, he's in a lot of trouble. We'll get to that one in a second. Lele, Sharif. Did you see my question? I'm starting to feel bad. I made a super chat for the Nazi soup question. I didn't see it. Lele? Leandra? No, that's not the one. It's from Leandra. Lele, her name is. Lele Love Ku. I didn't see it. Lele, tag me again with it. I'm so sorry. We missed that. That's not nice, obviously. Is the Maestro. Shout out to TPS. I love you guys, man. Cookie. What was the name of the bank? Oh, bro, Manhattan or 2nd Street Financial or something like that. Oh, man, that's a tough one. Yeah. Okay, that's a good one there. You guys got me on that.
Shout out to Toby here, though.
Toby's dropping 5 in the chat, baby. Chemical Bank. Shout out to Scott H. I should have known that it was Chemical. I suck.
So lame.
Yeah, I missed that one.
What's up with the what's up with the Seinfeld cult we got going on, man? Like, why is it like? I find it interesting that like the stories are so specific and like, it's just crazy stuff going on, man. Like, who remembers? Like, if I were to say, hey, man, let's do some Q&A on some Trailer Park Boys, that's something that's actually funny, but we don't have like that cult following like Seinfeld.
Well, brother, you know, humor is a subjective thing, right? Like,
I understand
what you may find funny, right? Anyway, love it. He is. Isn't he being a hater, VWAP King? He's totally being a hater right now. But I get it. He doesn't like the show. He doesn't like the show. What can we do? All right,
let's do it.
It is 12 after 1. Sia is waiting patiently at the big desk, so let's send it to her and we'll start the news.
Let's indeed. Let's talk about Lucid a bit in detail, laying off 18% of its workforce in the United States. The company has said that the chief operating officer, Mark Winterhoff, is leaving the company, and the COO role has completely been scraped off from the company. The company has said that its plan would give it an annualized cost savings of approximately $158 million. Therefore, the company will be incurring $32 million in one-time expenses related to severance. So Lucid's workforce reductions will range from full-time employees, contractors, to also hourly production workers in manufacturing. This is coming from a filing in the Securities and Exchange Commission. They've also said that they will be planning and eliminating the second shift of production in its AMP1 factory and in Arizona, currently with that LCID down on the day 5.13%.
Yeah, and this is not the first time they cut either, Sia. February, they slashed 12% of their U.S. workforce. According to the reports, that saved them about $500 million over a 3-year period. Back then, it said the cuts were aimed at optimizing expenses as it worked towards launching its new mid-size platform in 27, developing robo-taxis and moving into new markets. That's what it's saying. But we've seen this sort of staged release from Lucid. It was all about the Air, right? And the different models of the Air they had. And then the needle mover was supposed to be the Gravity. And quite frankly, that hasn't moved the needle either because it's very expensive. So unless we see this mid-size model, and it's, you know, I would say right down the wheelhouse of some of the, you know, the interested purchasers, I think we're probably going to see even more trouble. It's fallen sharply. The company suspended its 2026 production guidance, recall, of 25 to 27,000 cars per year. That was suspended, so we don't know what they're going to have. But you know what, Joey? I mean, I think this company has seen better days.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure what to make of this anymore because they were one of the first entrants sort of into this executive kind of push with the Model S and the Air, and they can't seem to come out of it on the other side. Like you're seeing Rivian take that first step for the R2. Lucid says they're taking that first step towards the midsize, but we haven't seen much in the way of information on that.
Yeah, it's definitely a tougher look here within Lucid. I mean, you're guiding 27,000 cars for 2026. I mean, I think it's still too small right now to make any form of a dent. I mean, you did slash another 12% earlier in the year of your workforce, and you're also cutting one of the shifts too.
Exactly.
So when you start on that path, Sharif, it makes things significantly more difficult to gain any form of a ground. I think within the car business and producing these vehicles, you have to operate at a loss for such an extended period of time until you gain popularity.
Exactly.
And if you don't, then the company is almost inevitable to fail. I'm not going to call them a revolving door like we see in the retail space, but the path that Lucid is on right now isn't very good, and it's really, really tough to see. 27 cars earlier this year, like that's such a whole 27,000 cars, I should say. It's not enough to put any form of a dent.
All right, so this is what Car and Driver is reporting as possibly the replacement. What is this? All of the juicy details on Lucid's midsize SUV and robo-taxi plans.
I like that.
Okay. Yeah, it's a Model Y competitor. That's what they're trying to say, which does make sense, right? Model Y is not the best-selling car in multiple jurisdictions by accident. It's not like, you know, people love Elon so much they can't just stop. We got to buy his cars. We love him. Obviously, that's not the point. That's not why this is happening. So I think that it does make sense to throw your hat into that sort of Model Y mid-size SUV ring, but this is what they're saying. So it looks like as if it's going to be an SUV, which does jive.
A two-seater SUV?
Yeah.
That's what they're saying, Joey. Like, if you believe some of these reports here by Car and Driver, you guys can go and read for yourselves. But that's what it is saying, is two-seater SUV. Kind of looks like the robo-taxi a little bit there.
Pull up the robo-taxi, man. That's my...
Can I say one thing before we pull it up?
Yeah.
Littered all over Austin. Being driven, though, but by people. So it has a steering wheel.
They still have
yeah, but it's being tested, like, en masse. Because people are, like, taking videos of Tesla employees coming out at the supercharging stations, and they're charging it. They're just like operating it like a regular car.
I thought they're not supposed to have a steering wheel.
Well, the production versions probably won't, but these ones, yeah.
Pull up our.
Do you want to see the robo-taxi?
Yeah, because we're gonna own one. We're gonna own one when we can.
Robo-taxi, here it is. We all know what this bad boy looks like. This is the beast right here. But guys, if you guys are on X, it's just littered with people driving these all around Austin. Again, they're driving them. They're not being operated autonomously here. So, this is what it will look like, Joey, if you believe some of the pre-production sketches, that it's just going to be
Pull up the butterfly doors right there.
The butterfly doors. You're about that life, right?
Of course, man. You're not about those butterflies?
Of course I am, man. I mean, who would hate this, right? And like, he has a tendency to do this,
like
right?
that or suicide doors?
They're both kind of cool. They're both kind of cool. What are these ones called? Butterfly?
Those are
butterfly, and the other
right?
one's suicide, huh?
Yeah.
All right, see ya. I heard we're talking a little Chevron.
Yeah, Sharif, you're right about that. We are talking a bit about Chevron. We did cover this a bit briefly, but let's take a look into some of the details. So Chevron will be fueling a Microsoft data center in Texas, West Texas, with natural gas. And this 20-year agreement will serve a data center called Project Kilby, which is estimated to consume 2.67, to be exact, gigawatts of electricity. Funny and good fact, like a quick fact to know, that it's equivalent to about 2 million homes. So Chevron is expecting the data center to start receiving this power by the year 2028, and the power infrastructures will be located at the data center site. And with that, currently CVX is up almost 1% on the day, and Microsoft seems like it's made of a little bit of a reversal, but it's still down almost 3% on the day.
This is a good look. See, at 2.7 gigawatts, as you mentioned, Project Kilby or Kirby data center in West Texas. It's going to be on a 2,000-acre site. If you believe some of the reports, this 2.7 gigawatts is equivalent to about powering 2 million homes. So not a small amount there. And I don't think we really can afford not to have enough power. We know the electricity grid is currently getting stretched and probably will be more stretched as we build up more data centers and electric vehicles take on more, a bigger look there. Brackish water siphoning. So interesting look here. So operating this 2.7 gigawatt of continuous gas-fired power generation requires what the article is calling astronomical volume of cooling water in a hyper-arid desert region to bypass strict Texas environmental regulations and avoid draining public drinking reservoirs. Chevron's SEC disclosures reveal the site will rely exclusively on non-portable brackish groundwater and recycled oil field-produced water, obviously addressing one of the main concerns of anti-data center, lobbyists, which are, number one, it's increasing prices for locals, for the utilities, and number two, it's taking people's water. So brackish water obviously is a mix of water, of clean water and salt water, and not drinkable unless it's refined. And number two, when you pull out oil from the fields, it comes with a lot of water. I actually didn't know that until I saw some of the actual things in process. It comes with water. I guess they're going to use that water as well. So
I
not a bad look here.
No, it's not a bad look whatsoever, Sharif. And one thing that stood out for me the most was just the duration of the contract, 20 years.
Interesting.
So that's a very long contract. Good right? Point. Like I think that's what's really important. So you have that longevity and the security within this specifically, and it's also going to provide power to over 1 million residences in Texas. So we always had that conversation: is hey, these data centers are chewing up the power grid, they're costing, and you're seeing that price reflected into the people around the data center. Now this is going to be providing for both of them, which is something that I think is really important. So 1 million people in Texas, going to get the benefit of that. And now, other than that, guys, like this stock hasn't been performing good. There's going to be a trickle down. So the turbines are going to be coming from GE Vernova. That's big. And then guess what? There's another name that is going to be involved with this build out here as well, Sharif. And I'm sure you guessed it already. That's correct, Caterpillar. So you just follow the money and you look at the trickle down effect.
See that all-time high today?
GE Vernova been on a big time. Let's pull up these names. Never mind Chevron, but we'll take a look at Chevron. But GE Vernova and Caterpillar once again being the beneficiaries of some of this. That's GEV. Before we send it over to Adara, this is GEV from a 5-minute. We want to go over to a daily and see how it's been performing. Not bad at all. You get this pullback off to the races. It goes, and then guess what? Caterpillar, you don't need to be in specifically with the data centers or the AI trade in itself. You go right to where everything is starting. It falls right into Caterpillar's lap. This stock is at $1,000. I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't split. There's no need for this company to do so at this point. Let's send it off to Adara.
We can't go. But President Trump expected to meet with defense contractors on Wednesday, being reported here. I'm assuming by CBS News. It just says CBS. So President Trump expected to meet with defense contractors on Wednesday. Separately, just before we go to say, did you see the big dub for Anduril? They got a huge contract with the military, man. They're going to have this drone / fighter, I guess it's a drone fighter jet that's it's going to basically fly in formation with manned aircrafts. You're talking the F-22s, the F-35s, with the purpose of being like kind of that autonomous wingman. What I was looking for, though, and I don't think they released the details on that, and if they did, Chad, I'd love for you to tag me, let me know. What are its anti-drone capabilities specifically for that Anduril aircraft? I'm going to pull it up in a second here, but it should be big.
Dude, I knew that Anduril was going to be, I mean, before this, Anduril's been kind of the talk of this defense and this new tech alongside Palantir. They were in that Vice News documentary as well, too. So, but as soon as I seen Anduril on the UFC 250 fight card, the promotion of it, I'm like, I wouldn't be surprised if you hear something coming up big momentarily. So,
I just want to pull it up. Here it is, Joey. Here it is. So here it is right here. New American fighter giant emerges. This is what it looks like over here. Yes, the FQ-44 Fury and the FQ-42 Dark Merlin.
Yeah.
These are going to be the airplanes there, and they're obviously all autonomous.
Make that bigger.
Make that bigger. Here it is, Joey. I'll pull up image and new tab.
Yeah, man.
So this is kind of what it looks like here. I'd love to know the anti-drone capabilities, because that's all I want to hear. Did you see what Ukraine did to Moscow last week?
No, I heard.
It was uninterrupted drones hitting oil fields. I'm not taking a position one way or another. I'm just saying that this is what warfare is now. It is drones, and more drones, man.
And then, well, think about where it's been realized within that specific war itself. You've seen the increase between the Ukrainian, right?
You've seen what the Iranians did too.
Yeah,
right. Like
that's just where the trajectory is, and then you watch some of these documentaries, whether it be Vice or whatever it is, autonomous warfare. That's that next step.
Exactly. Just before we go back to Sia, Tony, I want to read your comment, because you were not very happy with how I've labeled the whole data center thing. So I want to give your take a fair shake here, brother. That is news. That news is designed to be misleading. Please do some research in your personal time. I know you are intelligent. Respect you, sir. No, but you didn't exactly say what you wanted there, Tony. So just tag me with your opinion here on this whole thing. So he's like, oh, and it pollutes. Notice the weather. Notice the wild weather. No, hoax, huh? Okay. So I feel where you're going with this, Tony. Like your opinion is they're not giving us the full picture on the environmental implications of data centers.
Yeah.
I think that's where you're going there. I respect your opinion. I hope you're wrong, because I don't want to see the environment get destroyed. But I completely understand what you're saying there, Tony.
I totally understand, and I think that's one of the largest ongoing conflicts between this data center build out is just the environmental impact that these massive projects have.
Yeah.
I don't know how much of a difference that would be made in space, but yeah, I can see where people are coming from when they get pissed off about that stuff.
Yeah. Adam's a big advocate as well.
Absolutely, but see, my issue is, Sharif, unfortunately, the world that we currently live in is that if you don't do it, somebody else will, and then you'll see the people of that time kind of benefit.
And that's the thing.
Right?
If I think, I was telling my aunt this, I'm like, everything you are able to make in the future is going to be reliant on how much compute capacity you have. You want to design drugs or new types of drugs, compute. You want to design military equipment and you want to have the top military, compute. So I think that's the problem. There are a lot of people are facing. They don't want to be left behind because it's too much of a risk to be left behind, right? Like,
you can't get left behind at this point because you won't have any economic growth. I get it. People get pissed off, but
I respect what they say.
At the end of the day, it's what would you rather put some clothes on your back and a roof over your head? Or I think that's. Listen, I understand. Dude, I love nature. I would like to think I'm one with nature. It's unfortunate, but you also have to progress as a society.
All right, let's. I've heard of this company before.
No.
SIA, Space something or another. What's going on over here?
I'd be concerned if you hadn't heard about this company before. We're talking SpaceX and how it's on track for its third straight day of losses. So it's signed a major computing power deal. I mentioned this earlier in the show. We're diving a bit deeper into the facts with Reflection AI for access to NVIDIA's GB300 chips at Elon Musk's Colossus 2 data center. The company Reflection AI will be paying SPCX $150 million per month, starting July 1st, 2026, with payments totaling about $6.3 billion. This is if the deal runs to the year 2029. And this basically shows how SpaceX has turned Colossus into a commercial computing power platform, landing recent deals with Anthropic, Google, as well as Cursor, and now Reflection AI. So either company can end the contract with a 90 days notice after the first 3 months. This is just another thing to note. And Reflection AI has also said that the agreement gives it additional computing power or compute capacity to accelerate what it calls American open intelligence. With that, SPCX is down almost 11% on the day. Like I said, on track for a third straight day of losses.
Katina Man is still short 169, so he's $4 and change in the money. Shout out to the Katina Man. I feel like it's really good that he's able to find customers and generate revenue in the short to intermediate term, but I'm going to put a question to you.
Yeah.
Is this more reflective of the demand or lack thereof for XAI and Grok, that he's got all this spare compute capacity that he's not utilizing for queries and searches and everything else on Grok?
Yeah.
So he has to deploy it and generate revenue from it.
Yeah.
So is it good in the sense that he is finding new sources of revenue, but bad in the sense that Grok is not taking off?
Yeah. Listen, I'm gonna counter that here.
Go.
We know with Google, Sundar stating that they would have generated more revenue if they had more compute. Wasn't necessary, right? So it's exactly to your point. I do not believe that there's the demand for Grok, just like there isn't for MuseSpark and Avocado within Meta's platforms. But what Elon is doing is finding a customer, a partner to absorb that cloud, which I think is extremely, extremely important. Otherwise, that would just be CapEx spent and no return on investment.
Okay, so let me get to the next part of the question then. At some point, does Elon say to himself, I'm done competing in the frontier model sort of race, and instead, I'm just going to turn this into a compute competition, especially because his view is, if you believe him, that he's going to have these things in space. And so he's got the advantage over everybody else. He has a space launch vehicle that can get his own, well, they're not going to be his computers, to be fair. They're going to be NVIDIA chips, maybe custom ASICs, whatever, right?
Yeah.
He can get that equipment into space, whereas Google, OpenAI, Anthropic, whoever else wants to compete, they got to hire somebody or build it on Earth.
I don't think he throws in the towel on it.
He doesn't throw in the towel on X?
You know why? Because listen, we know that there's going to be some major players, the names that you just brought up, but then there's going to be little slices of that pie remaining, and I think he's going to be able to absorb that with XAI, obviously, and Grok and everything along those lines. So I don't think he throws into. I don't see Elon as that type of individual to just quit on it, but he still has that advantage of where he can put these data centers. He can rent it out. He's strung all these GBs together to create Colossus, which is something that has never been done before, stating by Jensen. Exactly. So I don't think he throws in the towel on it. He's just not going to grab as much market share as maybe he thought at one point.
Yeah, that's a good point. I like that take. I want to read Jeffrey Jurassic 5630. His comment here was on data centers, because we were talking not that long ago about the water and stuff like that. Look what he says.
Let's see.
Sharif, in Fayetteville, Georgia, residents are experiencing very low water pressure. The data center has drained roughly 30 million gallons of water over a 15-month period. I'm not vouching for the veracity of the facts stated, and Jeffrey, but I'm not calling you a liar either, so don't get me wrong. But I wanted to read that out because that is sort of the narrative that's out there here. Your power consumption is going to go up, and their water reserves, Randy, are going down. So that's why you're having this anti-data center narrative, and if true, you can't blame people for putting up a fuss about it.
No, not at all. Well, we already know within California you have water shortages in other states down south, which I think is extremely important. This is one of the major factors, is just the water supply that needs to be used within these data centers.
And my understanding, sorry, Sia, just one sec. My understanding was that it was a closed circuit system. So once they took the water that they wanted to use, it would be locked in the circuit, it wouldn't be reused. But apparently that's not always the case, right?
No. I mean, that's a lot of underground water too. We know what happens.
And that's how they get you. That's how these companies get you. Like, it's all great AI data centers, yes, but it's at the end of the day destroying the environment, which you're not going to have clean drinking water in the next 5 to 6 years.
Yeah, that is a tough look there. They are used for chillers, says TPS reports. Yeah, we understand why they're using it. They're using it for cooling, system. Right? We've seen the water cooling. It's more effective than the air cooling. Different systems. You see Dell with their own, SMCI with their own. We get all that. I love the comments, guys. And a lot of you are industry experts that work in that, and we're not. So please don't take our opining on this as some sort of a slide against you guys. Please actually tag us, correct us when we're wrong, engage in the conversation. I think it does create a better environment. Obviously, it teaches a lot of
the I mean, it's funny because we heard Sean mention this, and then I was listening to some analysts speak about SpaceX as well too, but just in the future that they plan on mining asteroids is almost something out of a comic book or some
I think that's a fact, because we're going to exhaust the resources here on Earth at some point.
Absolutely,
we're definitely going to be mining.
No, listen, now I don't believe in our lifetime, right? Like, at some point, maybe you will fall into that realm. But what I think is really important is putting these data centers into space. Is that you are no longer using that much of your natural resources, i.e. the water cooling systems within these data centers. You just have space in its natural form, just cooling.
Just cool as hell, man. Right? It's like freezing.
Well, yeah, I mean, so I mean, at the end of the day, I think you want to push towards that so you get them off of the surface of this planet.
TPS reports, we are good. It's a very deep subject, and I do it all day long. The misinformation drives me crazy, he says. So tag us, brother, as you just did there, and as I just read out your comment. If there are things that we're saying that may not be accurate because you're in the in the sort of the weeds, so to speak, tag me as I did. Just write out your comment there. We'll be happy to correct the record. Let's go back up to Sia, talk a little oil through Iran.
Let's definitely talk a little oil. So we saw earlier this morning, just a couple hours ago, that the Treasury Department will be allowing Iran oil sale through August. Now, there's a couple implications, and pay attention here. The U.S. Treasury Department has authorized the production, delivery, and sale of the Iranian oil for 60 days. So Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has said that the authorization comes after productive talks between Tehran and Washington that happened in Switzerland. So the authorization expires August 21st. 1st unless it's renewed. And Vice President J.D. Vance has said earlier today that great progress has been made during the talks in Switzerland, even though Iran has declared that it has closed the Strait of Hormuz. U.S. Central Command said Hormuz has not been closed. So transits have risen sharply to 35 on Saturday, but they plummeted, declining to 17 on Sunday amid the confusion over whether the strait was open or not open. This is coming according to Kepler. Sending it back to you.
Okay, so I got a bunch to say on this topic, which is atypical for me because I just say listen to the news. But apparently, there were 26 ships that made the transit through the regular route through the strait on Saturday. I'm seeing conflicting reports. I'm seeing 5 vessels on Sunday, and then some other places are showing me 10. So I'm not exactly sure, or 12, excuse me. I'm not exactly sure what to make of that. But this is the interesting part here. Remember when I reported to you guys that the Americans had made their own little route through the strait, through the southern side? Apparently they're still using it. So Iran's Persian Gulf Strait Authority, PGSA, apparently they've locked down the northern route through the Iranian waters. However, CENTCOM, U.S. Central Command, has been guiding sort of select ships through a southern corridor near the Omani territorial waters. So you're definitely seeing some come through a different area, or a different route, I should say, just obviously still not nearly enough. And when you hear about what I have to say next, you'll know what I'm saying. So there are 500 commercial vessels still trapped in the Persian Gulf. And when you just quantify the amount of assets that are sitting there uninsured to go through, it's about $350 billion. I don't even know how this is right. Like, listen to this. Because global P&I clubs canceled standard insurance coverage during the peak of the spring conflict, these ships represent over $350 billion in completely uninsured assets. Holy cow. That's probably a lot of sweat there from a lot of CFOs. Last but not least, shipping logs confirm that the U.S. and Iran have successfully activated what they're calling a direct automated communications channel, which was established under paragraph 5 of the MOU. So it looks like they've got direct back channel context. So the emergency tactical line is being used explicitly by both naval commands to share real-time coordinates, avoid unintended military miscalculations, despite sort of the public closure that we've seen or we've heard of from the Iranians coming out. So good to see that they're speaking there in that sense, but we're going to pause for a second, Joey, and get your comments in 1 second, because we're getting news. We got to go up to Adair.
The news is actually related to what we're talking about here with oil. J.D. Vance, he's currently speaking outside Air Force One. He, of course, is the vice president of the U.S. He was part of this deal here, this signing between the U.S. and Iran, saying that he feels, quote, great about the progress we've made, that they also have a mechanism set up to make sure that the Strait of Hormuz stays open. He didn't really specify this mechanism. He said apparently 15 million barrels of oil have already come out of Hormuz, and that he, quote, feels good about the ceasefire. So back to you.
Thank you for that. Guys, you keep tagging me about photonics. Photonics shorts cooked, says JL82. I just pull up light. It's ripping up about, what is this, 5%. And it just started moving. It was doing nothing all day. It just started ripping at like 10 to 1. So I'm not exactly sure what happened with photonics, but something's afoot here, Joey. I just want to point that out. But let's get your take here on.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this oil trade is finally starting to unwind a little bit. You've seen that you got some more tankers flowing and cargo ships flowing through the Strait of Hormuz. They have the deal with Asian countries as well, too. A region that has been hit heaviest for this specific blocking of the strait. And also what I think is key is the fact that they've struck all of these deals with some of these Asian countries, so that's going to allow them to slowly start to draw from that reserve. And they had no storage, so millions and millions of barrels are starting to funnel out and head towards Asia, which I think is a good positive thing. You're going to see the price of USO continuously drop. Even though the market is selling a little bit, you've seen USO hold off around the lows as well, down 2%.
All right, AAOI, another photonics name. We were trading this like a small cap, man. I remember this. It's now nothing close to a small cap. $13.6 billion market cap, developer and manufacturer of advanced optical and hybrid fiber coaxial networking products that are the building blocks for AI, data centers, cable TV, broadband, and broadband fiber access networks around the world. So AAOI going to get added and put beside LITE over here because these names are moving up big, and I didn't really understand why they were moving up. So good to know there. Appreciate the chat as always. And as Adair just brought us, JD Vance, Vice President JD Vance ends remarks to reporters after making several statements regarding Iran's frozen assets, saying that Iran's money won't be unfrozen without progress. We'll have to keep working on it, he says, with regard to Iranian talks. So remarks coming out from Vice President Vance, but they are now concluded, Joey.
Yeah, and I mean, like, if we were talking about this stuff, it's funny, we hear throughout this whole conflict that this could be really, really a massive hindrance to Iran for just like future deals, just due to the geopolitical tension. Do you see countries start to diversify from that area, that region of the world, and head over to the United States and get their oil from other places, which I think is extremely important because we've seen that within we've seen that within, like, think about it from a United States perspective, is that you had Donald Trump come in and start issuing tariffs to everyone. Well, what are countries going to do? And we've seen it here is that they start to diversify. I think that's what we're going to see here within the Iranian conflict, is that you'll see countries get out of there and find their oil elsewhere, just in case they don't want the exact same thing to happen again.
Fool me once.
Yeah, exactly. Can't fool me again.
Hold on, let's go through.
Okay, let's go.
Fool me once.
Yeah.
Shame on you.
Yeah.
Fool me twice.
Well, you can't fool me.
You can't fool me again. No, shame on me, right?
Shame on me.
So here's what's being talked about, Joey, and this is obviously very speculative, so we should make that. But look at this little peninsula right here. This is where Dubai is.
Oh, I know about peninsulas.
Peninsula, right, Joey?
Yeah.
And so what they're saying now is there could be a canal very similar to the canal, the Panama Canal, the Suez Canal.
Yeah.
We could get a cut through that peninsula right there, Joey, so that this issue over here doesn't happen again.
Well, I mean, if anybody's going to do it, it's probably those countries that we're talking about. I mean,
and it's a desert, bro. Right? It's not like you're taking eminent domain and taking people's homes and stuff that are there's not much to cut through there, my boy.
Yeah,
right? It's a desert. And this, look at this. So just to give you an idea, look how long the Suez Canal is.
Yeah.
This was made in the 1800s, right? And the Egyptians just expanded it. So if you can do it through the Sinai, you can do it through this right here.
I mean, well, if anybody's going to do it, it's these people.
Absolutely. All right, let's talk a little. Are we talking CRH next year?
Yeah, do you know about the Suez Canal? They also, it used to be able to fit 49 ships. Now it can around 97 ships after the expansion. That's crazy. Anyways, let's move on to our next story. CRH, in its $8.5 billion deal signing Arcosa, Ireland's CRH has said that it will be acquiring US-based Arcosa in an all-cash deal valued at about $8.5 billion, shooting up its North American business and also expanding that exposure in the United States infrastructure demand. CRH is offering $150 per share for Arcosa, representing a 10.4% premium to its Thursday's close price. Shares of Arcosa have risen about, let's take a look at here, they did rise about 7% to 145. Currently, they're at 111. 145. My apologies for that. The deal is expected to close in the first quarter of the year 2027. And CRH CEO Jim Minturn has also said that the acquisition positions the company to capitalize on rising demand for U.S. energy as well as utility infrastructure. I'm sorry about that. With that, CRH is currently trading flat.
So it's a 25% premium. I think, Neil's the buyout resident buyout expert here, but I think 25% is a good premium. See, the thing is this all cash or is this stock and cash? Let me just look here.
Oh, half cash, half stock.
Half cash, half stock?
No. Don't quote me. I was just quoting Ryan Cohen there. Yeah.
Right. What is it, Sia? It's all cash? Okay, so that makes it a lot easier, right? Because then the holding shareholders of Arcosa only have to ask themselves one question, not two. Is the premium being offered now worth the shares that I have, or is it better that I hold and possibly get a little bit more? Whereas if it's a cash and stock or just stock only, they have to ask themselves two questions. Are the shares that I'm receiving of CRH worth what my Arcosa shares are worth right now? And the second question is, do I want to be a CRH shareholder going forward? Is the sort of the financial thesis for this company fit within my risk profile? So I like when it's a clean deal like this. But anyway, CRH, one of the largest construction material companies in the U.S. What else over here? $150 share valuation is also 10% higher than Arcosa stock's closing price on Thursday. It's expected to close in the first quarter of 27. Arcosa is based in Texas. They deal with critical infrastructure that focuses on energy transmission markets. Obviously, energy transmission has been gaining traction amongst investors because of the need to modernize the U.S. grid for EVs and data centers. Oh, God, we're going to get into that conversation again. So seems like a deal that makes sense here, and it seems pretty clean.
Yeah, I think so, man. Cash is, I mean, it's not always clean, but that's the way you want to go. You don't want to get stock involved. CRH, again, not much I can really say about this company, but we'll take a look at the technicals. Listen, you can get into the data center build out now if you're going to talk about the materials, depending on which ones. I mean, material solution, building solution. So I'm thinking maybe they have the basic things. I need to get a little bit more of a deeper dive into what they actually provide. But here it goes, right? 130 all the way down to 114. That's 14% discount. Hasn't been horrible here today, Sharif. But it's not something that we typically talk about, nor is it very liquid, not a day trader that we see too often around here.
Joey.
Yes, sir.
You know who's playing right now, right?
Argentina, no?
Uh-huh. And who?
I
don't mean to quiz you or anything.
No, I truly, I know.
He scored again.
Who?
Messi. He scored again.
Austria.
He's winning his peak a lot,
What's going on with your team, Belgium?
Hold on, what happened? Messi X, what is it? What does that mean? Messi scored in the 38th, man. So 1-0 Argentina. We got to go to Adair.
Keep an eye here on Boeing, guys. BA on watch. We did get a little bit of a spike here into intraday lows. Breaking Defense is the name of the outlet. They're reporting that internal Air Force documents revealing, quote, serious airworthy risk related to Boeing, apparently non-compliance on the T-7 Red Hawk. So I guess there's some concerns here about Boeing-related non-compliance on this T-7 Red Hawk. BA, a little bit of a move here, nothing massive, but just wanted to make you guys aware. Back to you.
I don't know what this X thing beside his name is. Oh, they took... Did he miss a penalty or something? I think he missed a penalty or something, and then he scored after. Because there's an X beside his name.
He misses
Did he miss a penalty?
Yeah, he missed penalty.
Come on, Lionel, man.
Right? So he broke the record regardless. Now he's probably going to set another one with another goal here.
Ridiculous.
How does Canada stand against Switzerland coming up here?
Actually, pretty good, man. Look, I'm really liking the way Granit Xhaka is playing in this World Cup. So if Xhaka, the midfielder, he's a former Arsenal player, by the way.
Oh yeah.
If the midfield maestro named Granit Xhaka, which I believe does play for Sunderland for another year. If he continues dominating in the midfield like that, we're going to have some trouble. But let me tell you something.
Tell me.
Our forwards are very athletic and very hard to defend.
Hit it, Katina, man. Oh, I thought he was going to hit something.
He hit the computer off button. That's
I was going to say to my guy, you see that Brady Tkachuk deal? Yeah. But it's bad for the Leafs, man.
Oh,
they are.
Get him,
Katina, man. They're D-heads.
Katina doesn't like him.
Man.
Did you see his stats last year?
That's crazy.
Yeah, I just also got a message from my man telling that he is yelling and jumping on the table right now. Beating
is he Argentinian?
He's a very big Argentina fan.
Is he?
My Portugal jersey.
No. Is he Argentinian?
No, he's Mauritian.
He's a big Argentine. Okay.
No, my Portugal jersey is collecting dust because I'm not allowed to wear it.
Dust collector.
That's the way it works. All right, Nick, Sharif, FDMT, flat top break, incoming, mind looking and giving your thoughts. Of course I do, man. Of course I don't mind. Sorry, FDMT Assassino. There goes FDMT through the flat top break. You're completely accurate on that. Essentially a 10.5 flat top break. We had a bit, maybe 10.25 support. You're not getting a lot of volume on this though, right? 824,000 shares traded on FDMT. I'm just throwing in the ticker there for everyone to follow along. You're up 11.9%. Not a bad look. Not seeing any catalyst to warrant this today. But the company is a late-stage biotech company advancing durable and disease-targeted therapeutics. They have some drugs there in the pipeline. That's the 5-minute look on FDMT, CRH 11. Shout out to my man Nick. Thank you for that super. Here's the daily. In case you're wondering, very consolidative, okay? And it has been that way for, I'd say, a period of years. Yes, in fact, September 23rd. September 23rd or late September of 2025 is when we broke above, I want to say the $7.5, $7, $8 area. And since that time, it's been a bit of a range, you know, mostly 12, sometimes 11 as resistance, but most of the time you're going to see 8 as support. Now you're coming from higher, right? So you're coming from a lot higher during the, well, in 24 as well, you were trading at around 36 bucks. So you could definitely get a move here back into 20, an area of resistance as well as support on the daily here. So good luck. Thank you for FDMT, and I hope you print up multiple storms. Another comment here. Big Rudy Smasher.
Yeah, what's up?
Who is Messi? Is he kind of some hotshot or something? You want to take this one?
Norway plays today.
Norway plays today. You're getting pumped for
that's
that
my team.
call there, huh?
Whoa. That is so sick.
Yeah, Messi is a little bit of a big deal. You know, he's been a big deal. I first had eyes on Messi. The first exposure I got to him was the World Cup in 06, the year Italy won. That was when he made his Argentinian debut. I think he was 16 at the time, right? He was like a baby at the time. He still had like the crooked teeth and the hair. It was all weird and stuff like that.
Your boy Yamin Lamel.
Yamin is just gifted player, bro. But anyway, yeah, that's when I started watching Messi. And so he's been doing this at least on the world level for 20 years plus.
Yeah, man, this is his 6th World Cup, isn't it, or something?
Something like that. He's been in 6, 10, 14, 18, 22, holy 26. My God, this guy's got the facts.
I'm a big soccer fan now, man. I don't
Clearly, yeah. I forgot about that.
Yeah, Liverpool, Mo Salah, my boy.
I asked him last week who Mo Salah played for, like a deer in the headlights. And he's like, he's my guy, right? Like, I was like, this is great,
He's
Joey.
been my guy, man. He's born in 92.
He is born in 92. Yeah, good call. All right, CS also got some other facts. Let's send it back to her.
Go.
Yep, let's talk a little bit Micron. So Micron has been rising after Bernstein has raised its price target to 1,300 from 510. Again, pretty strong here. It's citing a stronger memory pricing and the sustained HBM demand through the year 2027. HBM, the high bandwidth memory. Analysts are becoming more bullish ahead of earnings as the tight supply continues pushing memory prices higher. SK Hynix has also raised its profit outlooks, reinforcing the view that AI-driven memory demand remains robust across the sector. And MU's growing focus on, like I just mentioned, HBM, high bandwidth memory, is increasing its exposure to higher margin AI applications, and industry experts are expecting supply constraints to persist for another 12 to 18 months that will support pricing and profitability. But before I head to the guys on this, I want to get Adara's take on MU.
Yeah, I think with MU here, just to go over what we're expecting from the earnings report, which is going to be Wednesday after the bell. I haven't posted this yet, so you guys are getting a sneak peek at our Micron earnings preview. This is the CEO, Sanjay Mehrotra. Revenue here, we're expecting $34.24 billion, earnings of a whopping $19.40 per share. Last quarter revenue grew by, I'm not joking, 196% year over year. GAAP net income coming in at just under $14 billion. They increased their quarterly dividend by 30%, and their guidance here well above estimates. So we're very likely expecting another strong quarter from MU. Again, this infographic very likely to come out potentially tomorrow, more likely Wednesday. But I do have a whole performance of Micron in the first half of the year because we're about to report Q3 2026. That came out over the weekend. You can check that out here. Either way, I think we're expecting, for good reason, big things from MU with this report.
Thank you very much for that, Adara. Let's talk a little bit about this Micron upgrade. We're all pumped, of course, for Wednesday's earnings report. This thing is up. Joey, you want to take a shot in the dark about what Micron is up year to date, percentage-wise, not dollar-wise?
Take
a shot.
120.
At 200 exactly to that, 320. But SNDK, Katina Man, takes the cake, 880% on that one. But let's talk a little bit about this. Cassia brought up a very good point. She brought up HBM, right? And HBM, they get all the credit for HBM because high bandwidth memory is their largest or their best margin product. The product that they sell most of to the hyperscalers, right, where the deeper pockets. So they get the credit for all that. But quietly, DRAM here, which is used in computers and cell phones and stuff like that, has quietly surged 4.5 times its price since mid-2025, excuse me. So it's not surging nearly as much as HBM, but this is a great problem to have, right? We talked last week about how they were diverting some of their production capacity away from DRAM into HBM because it was a higher margin product, but it's also a good problem to have is the product that you're diverting away from is also 4.5 times more expensive than it was at this time last year. So Micron's got really a lot of good problems. Now let's go to this one as well. Bernstein noting that HBM is packaged inside GPUs and forms a core part, of course, of NVIDIA's cost basis. So the theory here by Bernstein is NVIDIA is going to have cost raised on it by Micron, by SK Hynix, by Samsung. And as a result, NVIDIA is going to raise prices on the hyperscalers. In fact, they're saying that they might have to increase prices about 4-fold if they want to maintain their 75% gross margins on their frontier product. In this case, of course, it's Blackwell. We'll see next year when the Vera Rubin combination comes out. So expect, what I'm trying to say by this whole thing, expect an increase in CapEx from the hyperscalers to account for this memory shortage, which is obviously causing a problem for everybody, including NVIDIA. So that's point number 2. Point number 3, Bernstein's quant models is quietly mapping out exactly the end of the cycle. According to them, according to Bernstein, of course, the broker is projecting that severe DRAM shortage is going to peak with industry-wide gross margins hitting about 70% by late 2027. And then they're going to say before a new clean room manufacturing capacity finally comes online and deflates prices in 28. Now, I think Bernstein's being a little ambitious here because a lot of reports as well coming out from China or the Chinese are starting to really light a fire under their rear end there to kind of catch up with for the demand for RAM and really start making some money themselves. So we may see some more supply come online before 28, but Bernstein's idea is 27 is going to be the peak year in terms of margins, and then we're going to start seeing deflating margins into 28 and then going into the end of the decade.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's going to be the narrative, Sharif, because at some point you're going to have more competition step into the game, and we talk about the bottleneck all the time and how long it can potentially be sustained. Eventually, supply will reach demand. We talked about where we're starting to see it amongst the hyperscalers, Sharif, and I'm not naming this country as one because, or this company as one because they're not, but you see a $100 increase plus on some of the iPhone products as well, too, and Apple products as well. So you will see a little bit of an increase. Now, a big time deal between Micron and Anthropic. I think that needs to be noted. And I stand in the camp that that's why I'm waiting. There's no other focus for me outside of this tech trade right now and this AI infrastructure build out. 13% of the iPhone cost is memory. That's increased. You're seeing NVIDIA have to increase their pricing as well too, just to hold on to margins. But when you have that high of a margin, unfortunately, there's only really one way. It's really difficult to increase them and expand. I don't think that's the nature. You're going to see a little bit of margin compression in the future, and I'm not talking tomorrow or next year, maybe in 2028, 28, 29, more or less. But I like this big-time deal. Someone asking me what I think about Micron. Wait for the dip. Get involved. You have their earnings report Wednesday after the bell. That's going to be a massive teller on which direction I think we head within this trade. Even though in the long duration, this is short term more or less what I'm getting at. Long term, I'm remain bullish until otherwise. And when is that otherwise? What is that otherwise, you may ask, Sharif? Is reduction in CapEx from the hyperscalers.
And you're going to wait for that? As like that's kind of like the canary in the coal mine.
The cooling down.
I see what
thing,
you're saying.
Right,
I see what you're saying.
Within the memory names, now I have a whole different bull case for the hyperscalers themselves, because what happens when you get on the backside of spending all this money, especially
you better make some damn money.
Especially with, well, we're already starting to see it within Amazon and Google. Now it's the other names that need to start to play a little bit of catch up. And who am I referring to? Microsoft and Meta. All
right, let's throw it up to Adair because there's some military headlines here. And then thank you so much for the super chat earlier. I'm sorry, so sorry we couldn't get to it. Yeah. But we'll save that one for tomorrow. It was a question about Nike. Let's throw it up to Adair.
Yeah.
Keep an eye here on some of these military contractors. There's really not much of a market reaction here, but here is LHS, LMT, BA, and RTX. Lockheed, RTX, Boeing, and L3Harris are reportedly among the defense contractors expected to meet with U.S. President Donald Trump, as reported by Wall Street Journal. We heard earlier today, CBS News reporting that Trump would be meeting with these military contractors. This meeting's set to happen on Wednesday. We know he posted asking for military contractors to beef up their spending at the start of this year, so early 2026. Looks like he's now going to have a meeting with some of these contractors again. That's Lockheed Martin, RTX, Boeing, and L3Harris. If I get more details, I'll let you know. Back to you.